Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a quadruple feature that is pleased to meet ya. It's Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Okay, so you see what I did, because it's four of us, so we're a quadruple feature.
True.
And it also then lends itself to the theme of what we're going to be doing tonight. So there's that. And I think we all had a really good time.
Yeah. Well, so tell us what. But before that, who are you?
Tell us what. But before, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
And for this episode, this is another brainchild from the great SHAWN Sheridan. And you know, he really does surprise us. Just when we think he's tapped and he's got nothing, he's just working on fumes. He comes up with a gem and buys himself 6 more months on this show.
Pow! Yeah.
So for this episode, he came up with this idea where, you know, how you go to the movies and you used to have 2 features. You had the double features. Sometimes you had a triple feature. Sometimes you had them like go ape. When they played all the Planet of the Apes movies, they had 5 movies.
Like a dusk till dawn marathon.
Right, you watch a bunch of movies. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like we're the ones who are booking these shows.
That's right.
We're going to pick some of our dream double features, triple features, and, you know, maybe marathons as well.
Yep.
So what we've decided to call this, and again, I believe this came from SHAWN as well. He's just, he's sparking. He is sparking right now. The topic is the Monster Party Movie Marquee.
Monster Party Movie Marquee.
Monster Party Movie Marquee.
Oh, man.
Come on out to the marquee.
Up in lights on the theater.
So, yeah, you're walking by the theater. You look up and there it is. These 2 movies. And you like, wow, that is a double feature I need to see. Or you go, what? Why? So
right.
But Matt, to do this, we need someone who knows movies, who knows a lot about movies, who knows how to pair up movies. And how can we possibly get someone like this? Who do we know?
Well, you know, it's funny you should bring that up, because there are so many of our guests who, I can't even think of a guest that I have not enjoyed on our show, but there are some guests who really have, like, you know, they got it. They got that thing that we got. They're movie
extra
heads.
Oomph.
Yeah. I mean, they're thinking about movies all the time. They love movies. They watch them again. And so we have someone who is just like that. Our guest tonight, he is a renowned comedian, actor, television host, filmmaker, yes, and just a kindred spirit. And he has been a loyal supporter of our show from the start.
Yes.
And you may have seen him on several incarnations of The Tonight Show. Yeah. He's one of our favorite monster kids. Please welcome back the always wonderful Mark Pitta.
Mark Pitta!
Thank you for having me back. I'm honored.
Welcome back.
It's our honor, really.
And I think Matt chose me because of a bit I do in my act, correct?
That's true.
That's right. Yes.
When we thought of this, when SHAWN thought of this, I'm not going to appropriate your idea, but when SHAWN came up with this, I was like, oh, you know what? This reminds me of Mark Pitta's bit. And please share that bit with us.
Well, it's actually, the bit started with video. When there were video stores, I would go to the video store,
yeah.
Right.
and I would rent Bambi and the Deer Hunter just to see if they'd laugh. I have the 400 blows with Oh Lucky Man. And then that was short-lived, because, you know, a lot of people don't know movies, but they all know bands.
Bands, right.
Somebody came up to me at a college and said, like, they named 2 bands together, and I went, "Oh, that's funny." And then I took off. So give me a rock band. I'll show you how it works. Give me a rock band. I will.
Well, there's a Fine Young Cannibals one. What was that one?
Fine Young Cannibals with Missing Persons.
That's great.
Pearl Jam.
Classic.
Pearl Jam with Blue Oyster Cult.
Nice.
Oh,
clever.
I gotta tell the audience, we didn't set this up. They're giving me ones I've
This is
never.
right off the top of his
You
head.
see, that's why I like, because he's a comedian. He's sharp. He's quick-witted. He
That's
can,
right.
he can, just say that joke.
Give
and love it.
him one, Larry. Give him one of your bands.
Oh,
like
okay.
Air Supply or
Air Supply with Weezer.
How about Stray Cats?
Stray Cats with Bow Wow Wow.
Oh,
Nice.
Stray Cats with Three Dog Night, actually.
Oh, you're so
There you
good.
go.
Nice.
See,
There you go.
just
Like
a
it.
natural. It's going to be. See
Yeah,
how good is
that's
this?
cool.
How
It
good is
took
this?
me
gonna
a
be?
long time to get certain bands. Like I couldn't get Aerosmith for about 7 years.
What'd you come up with?
Britney Spears. I tell the audience only I could use people's names, but you have to give me a band.
Right.
My favorite is One Direction with Three Doors Down. So when you gave me this assignment, I went to the joke.
Right.
So I wrote a lot of them. But then I realized, wait a minute, that's, I should really do double bill. So I think I have some that are pretty good and they kind of sound funny.
Yeah, that's cool. I have mostly more than double bill. Like mine are mostly like marathons, but that's fine too.
Okay, well,
see, I followed the rule.
We actually decided to do the topic, but no, that's fine, John. That's all right. You want to do a 3-day festival? Wonderful.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
the topic wasn't film festival, but hey, it's cool.
No,
So-
Marquee can present a festival as well, all night.
How much fun is that?
Festival. Yeah.
Go
And
A,
the marquee
and then we're done.
letters are always in red, right? They're always red.
Yeah, well,
Can
you
be.
know,
Can be.
it's funny. Just really quickly, I did work at a movie theater when I was 16. It was my first job, and one of the things that was when we were talking about this and we said marquee, I thought about the big marquee. This was a big deal because the marquee was huge, and the theater that I was at was like first run movies, and the theater, the sign, the marquee was out in the front by the street, and it was 30 feet high. We had to take a giant aluminum ladder and split it up and put it up against the marquee. And this was at a time, this is like in 83, 84. There was the plank that you had to stand on for this marquee was about 2 feet wide.
Wow.
And there was no safety harness.
No workers'
we're
comp.
We're like
Hopefully it
16,
wasn't
kids.
windy.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's
The Bay
thing,
Area.
guys. No, I have to tell you, it's like the film that was coming up. We always had to change it late at night on Thursday night for Friday, and it was terrifying. I remember doing it the first time, and I flipped out. I was like, this is so scary. And yes, wind, rain, or whatever, it was terrifying. But the funny thing is you realize, and the signed letters were huge, thick plastic. Sometimes you'd cut your hand on them. But the great thing, guys, is I started to get used to it. I realized that we had power putting up that sign.
There we
And
go.
yes, it's
There's
true.
the Larry I know.
It's true that when Terms of Endearment won an Academy Award, I had to put up letters for Academy Award winning film, and it was pointed out I had misspelled Academy Award. So
Oh, nice. Great. Good.
How did you spell it? How could you misspell that?
Come on, I was 16, okay?
No, I mean,
That was you. I remember going to see the gut.
I can see endearment being spelled wrong, but Academy?
But just really, really quickly, I'll never forget when we heard that we were getting the James Bond film Octopussy. And I'm all, oh my gosh.
Nice.
Oh, so my buddies and I, we had planned to put up some different words as we're putting it up. And of course, I wanted to take photos. And I had access. I had to ask my dad, hey, Dad, can I borrow your camera? My dad's, oh, sure. And so I borrowed my dad's camera. And so we put up, I eat and, all these other foul things. And we took all these photos. And of course,
someone like you.
My dad takes the film to the developers and goes, Larry,
wow.
The Photomat police show up at your house?
I still have these photos from,
you got to post those. You got to post.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. We'll talk about, but the marquee was a big deal. And so when we started to do this topic, I got all excited. I remember that if we had two films, it was a big deal to put up the two sets of letters. So great
Wow.
topic.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you. There we go. So super fun experience, but it was a good 2 years. I mean, I love being a theater attendant, loved serving the popcorn and the drinks and watching the movies. It was a great first job to have.
There's a lot of comedy clubs there that were movie theaters to begin with, like in San Jose. And they have an old marquee, and they asked me, "What do you want on the marquee?" And I said, "Mark Pitta, the legend." And I showed up, and that's what they put.
Wow.
Cool.
It was the last time I worked there. I knew that was the last because I was moving.
Hey,
so.
Larry, the theater that you worked in, was it before they cut them all up? Was this just one movie?
Very good question. That's a very good question. It was a dome theater that they split in half. It was two theaters. But considering what they did to it, two sides were actually pretty big, and we actually showed Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan first run, Tron first run,
cool.
and it was actually a big theater. It's split in half, but it was still pretty cool. And I have a lot of good, funny, goofy memories that we could share another time. But cool. Marquee, man. So let's get to it.
All right. Okay. Well, we always like to do this. This is tradition. So, Mark, you've been wowing us with what you've come up with so far. Give us a couple, and let's, we'll save the funny ones for, maybe the lightning.
I have my first one. I think works for both.
Okay.
Well, maybe it doesn't work for both. But
too late now.
The movie that I really enjoyed this year, and it's still out there. And it's called The Menu with Eating Raoul. Because both have wine snobs in them.
Right.
Right.
I don't know if you watch The Menu, but it is a great satirical black comedy. And I'm sorry they put it in the genre of horror because it's going to keep people away.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I've heard good things.
Liked it. You know what? It's one of those movies too, where if you go in and you're expecting something to, really be grounded in the real world, no, but it's just fun. It's just a really good time.
I think,
and the ending is fabulous. I think
I love the ending, and my favorite line. I won't spoil it for Sean. What are these? These are tortillas. It was the way it's like that woman. Anyway,
the premise is that a bunch of these people get invited to this really, really unique, small, upscale eating experience.
Mm-hmm.
With this very temperamental chef and his staff. The way that it's shot even is like it gives you the feel of like one of those cooking shows.
Okay.
And so as the movie progresses, you start to get hints of why these certain people have been invited and what's going on. Yeah, and it's just great.
If you've seen any TV show about a chef, you see they're Nazi-like.
Right.
I didn't realize how serious that was. There's one called Burnt. There's a bunch of this takes it to
Gordon
the next
Ramsay.
Level. What if the head chef is a little crazy?
And it's Ralph Fiennes and
one of his best performances.
And it really is. He is great. And it's the I'm blanking on the name of the woman who's from
Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, she is wonderful.
Yeah. So Eating Raoul is not a movie I really enjoyed, but it worked here. But it does have wine snobs, and it's
I love that movie.
Me too.
And I think it's Rock and Roll High School that I go, why am I attracted to Mary Warnoff?
Don't even get me started. Mary Warnoff.
There's a part like, wow, why am I attracted to this person?
Eating Raoul is probably the best, one of the sexiest showcases for Mary Warnoff. I mean, she's I think that may have been the first movie I saw her in.
Death Race 2000 too.
Yes, I think I saw Eating Raoul first. So I was immediately a fan of Mary Warnoff after that movie. So
Okay.
It's a good one.
All right. So who's next?
Okay, well, I just wanted to say before I give my things, Matt had mentioned one of the classics. One of the classic ones was this whole campaign, Go Ape. This was back in 1974.
Right. Yes.
And this is where 20th Century Fox had released, they were showing the whole package, all 5 films at movie theaters. So you paid one. Yeah. And Matt, you've told this wonderful story. And the funny thing is that 2 things, when I begged my parents to go, and they dropped us off. And of course, in typical mom and dad flair,
the drive-in though. That's the
no, it wasn't a drive-in. They dropped us off late, so I had Planet of the Apes. I catch Planet of the Apes late, but I had seen that. But watching Beneath and everyone else was great. But I remember the next day going to school, telling this kid who was an idiot. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I saw these these films, and he goes, "Oh, did you see the film Go Ape?" And I go, "No, that's not the name of the film." He goes, "We got in this huge fight." He goes, "It's in the newspapers. It says Go Ape." And I went, "Oh yeah, well, who's in Go Ape?"
I think he was confused with the Marie and Donny Osmond movie, Going Coconuts.
Going Coconuts, right? That had apes in it.
Well, be that as it may, I remember thinking that this kid was an idiot, and to this day, I still feel that. But anyway,
I think I mentioned before on the show that my mom did go to the drive-in and see all 5, from the plane crash to the Lawgiver, and the sun was coming up at the end credits.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
Well, I am a monster kid.
Yeah, well, my mom, same thing.
Yeah, really?
Well, in at the El Rey Theater. Remember that on Ocean?
Yes, the El Rey Theater.
Huh. Yeah. Wow.
Now,
what was the theater, Larry? What was the theater that you did the marquees?
It was a Century Theater in San Jose.
Okay.
Yeah. But so imagine 2 great 3D films that I would love to see, and that's Creature from the Black Lagoon and It Came from Outer Space. And both films directed by Jack Arnold, and I actually have seen this double feature.
Yeah.
This was, and what's weird is it was around 75 when theaters were trying to figure out how to get people in, and it was not the first run theaters. It was like the second tier ones or the third tier ones.
Right.
And I remember being dropped off. My folks were dropping us off so we could see the creature, and It Came from Outer Space. The sad thing is, so they gave us enough money to get into the theater, and I go up. It was, let's say, $2 per person. Okay.
Right.
And I get, the guy goes, "Oh, it's you and your brother. Okay, that's $4." And I'm like, "Okay, here's the $4." He goes, "Okay, and then that's $1 for the 3D glasses." And I'm like,
"No."
And my brother and I,
really? That's bullshit.
And no, we had to pay 50 cents for the 3D glasses. And I looked at him, and I looked at my brother. Well, and I go, I guess we'll have to watch the film blurry because we didn't have the money. And the guy goes,
man, that's fucking bullshit.
Especially for kids, you know?
Yeah, so he gave a heavy sigh and just gave the 2 glasses to us. So we were able to see it, but it's cool. There was I didn't see the sign.
There are probably many people who did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonsense.
Hey, you know what I think? Do you guys think it might have been a scam? It was supposed to be
Yes,
maybe, right? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Well, this is back when I was a kid, so I'm wondering about that.
Yeah.
I read Cassandra Peterson's book, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Oh, is that good?
And the first, it's fantastic.
Really?
I love all the stuff before Movie Macabre, which she was a showgirl in Vegas.
Yeah, right.
She ends up in Italy, broke, and she's an extra in Fellini's 8.5. I mean, it just goes on.
Oh, that's great.
But when her show, Movie Macabre, was going to show a 3D movie for the first time, she realized she didn't have any. She went to 7-Eleven. There was a line around the block she had to wear in disguise because they were all there to get the 3D glasses.
Oh my gosh!
No.
I saw. I mean, back in the day, her very first broadcast episode, because somehow I saw like an ad in the TV Guide or something. Like, oh my gosh, like a new horror host now and a sexy horror host. Like, yes, and like I was religiously watched her original show every week.
Yeah. I think she was on the cover of a Tom Waits album playing a stripper.
She says
really,
it's not her, but it's a girl at a dressing room table. Okay. I've always asked her that. She doesn't remember doing it.
No, so maybe it's like an urban legend.
Okay. Yeah, right. Wow,
right.
That's cool. That's cool.
Well, that's a good double feature. I saw the same one, and it was
a little hard on the eyes. It's a little hard on the eyes,
but it was great 3D. That's what I remember. Really great 3D.
Yeah.
All right. So
the best 3D of underwater footage.
It's for sure.
So
and then when it came from outer space with the meteors coming at you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great.
Great.
Sean.
All right. I'm going to go with an all-night marathon for this one.
Oh,
but you'll love it though. It's good. So
okay.
How about we all go to the circus?
Ooh.
How about that?
All right.
How about we go to the circus?
Yeah.
And we'll span the decades.
All right. Here we go.
We'll start with, of course, Freaks. Right.
Perfect.
Yeah. 32.
One of us.
Then we'll jump to the 60s with Joan Crawford in Berserk, where there's a bunch of killings at a circus. You have to find out what's going on.
Right.
And then we'll go to Circus of Horrors, where there's a bunch of killings at a circus going on with Anton Diffring.
Right.
And then we'll go to Circus of Fear, where there's a bunch of killings going on at a circus with Christopher Lee.
Sure.
And then we'll go to Vampire Circus, one of Hammer's best
right. Yes.
early 70s
I agree.
films. And then we'll throw in She-Freak, which is kind of like a sleazy exploitation kind of ripoff of Freaks from the 60s. And we'll top it off with one of Tobe Hooper's most underrated films, The Funhouse.
Oh my gosh!
Which isn't really, that's more of a carnival, though.
Yeah, but I think it falls under the category.
Shawn, that's 7 films.
Well, you forgot one though. You forgot one.
There's no way I'm going to be able to sit through all that.
James,
speaking of 3D, Gorilla at Large with Andy.
That's a good one. Okay, and then I can't believe that you brought up Freaks and didn't then include The Mutations, or otherwise known as The Freak Maker.
That would have been 8 films.
That's even more. That's like 10 almost.
Shawn,
it's all night. You start in the afternoon, you go till the wee hours of the morning.
It's like Shawn when he did all the zombie movies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Think about it too. You could have like ushers dressed as clowns. You could have a little like big top kind of stuff in the lobby. I mean, can make it all circus horror theme.
A scared tiger in a cage.
Yeah. Like abused elephants and stuff.
I'll bring it all back.
Great. Gorillas running around.
The smell of shit.
See, Shawn, this is like a weekend of circus. This is like, I can't.
I'll give it to you.
Ambitious.
Sure.
Ambitious.
It's ambitious.
Has there ever been a movie about a circus that was an uplifting, fun movie?
Yes.
The Big Top or The Greatest Show on Earth?
The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman, you know?
Greatest Showman, yeah.
Greatest Show on Earth.
This is horror. We're going like more horror.
Yeah, we're going horror.
And mutants and killers and stuff like that.
There are freak people in The Greatest Showman. Shawn.
That's how they like to be called.
True.
Freak people.
Freak people.
No, but
that was originally the title Freaks.
Freak people. They did a mashup between ordinary people and freaks.
That's exactly the kind. That's the bit.
But Shawn, I'm going to suggest that these films that you suggest, there's a few of them that I haven't seen, and that's the one that you got to have at your place.
Sure.
I'd do that. I'd show up for that.
Yeah.
Shawn and Gino, we're going to the circus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cotton candy. And
you sell cotton candy at the concession stand. Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be fun.
I like it.
Right. And you can sell 3D glasses for Gorilla at Large.
Okay.
That's true. That's true. For $5 each. That's like the Second City skit with Joe Flaherty as Count Floyd. He'd always be like, "So remember, kids, tune into this 3D movie and send $25 to me for their 3D glasses."
Floyd, scatty.
Right. All right,
Shawn. Nice set. James, how about you?
Very good.
Well, I know right off the bat that you guys are going to accuse me of cheating here.
Oh, no.
But
of course, the first one.
But as long as
on Golden Pond and what else?
No. As long as I have free reign here, what I want to do is slightly alter the films in this lineup for a reason.
Okay. All right.
The theme is movies that had rejected scores, and I want to replace the original scores written for these movies.
Jesus Christ!
Wait, you're gonna put all this in the marquee? Movies that have rejected
are you on the
scores.
spectrum?
The category is Dream Double Bills. Dream Marquee.
Yeah. And the next thing I want to do is I want to arrange all the stools in my house in alphabetical order.
So that means you take Legend and you take the Jerry Goldsmith score and switch it with the Tangerine Dream score for Thief.
Back. Yeah.
Well, let's let James tell us.
Let's hear this.
Let's hear from James.
Wait, before you go, I got mad. Did you see Tar? They dissed Jerry Goldsmith's Planet of the Apes score. They made fun of it. I don't like that movie.
I didn't see that.
I can't. I'm so sick of people saying Tar is a masterpiece. Yeah, cut the first 20 minutes out. Might be.
It's dead to me now. Nobody fucks with Jerry Goldsmith.
Especially that score.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's
20 minutes that turned me off to it.
All right, so please,
back to James.
Get to this. I don't even understand it yet. Like, come on.
Famously, the rift that Bernard Herrmann had with Alfred Hitchcock was over Torn Curtain.
Okay.
Herrmann wrote a brilliant score for Torn Curtain, but nobody ever heard it in the movie. It's simple enough to just put it back in the movie. 2001 had an original score by Alex North, who had worked with Kubrick on Spartacus.
That's true.
Never used. Finally, it was released on CD. Jerry Goldsmith conducted it. Put it back in 2001 because I want to hear it with Alex North's original score. Lalo Schifrin wrote a score for The Exorcist that was thrown out. I want to see how that film works.
Now I see where you're going.
Exorcist. Exorcist.
The sequel to Somewhere in Time, What Dreams May Come, had an original score by Ennio Morricone that was thrown out. I would like to see that movie with the Morricone score. And Goldsmith, in his, originally he had collaborated with Richard Donner on The Omen and won an Oscar. Well, toward the end of his career, they collaborated again on a movie called Timeline, based on a Michael Crichton book, and Goldsmith's score was thrown out. So I would like that to be put back in. So we're talking about a 5 or 6 film festival, but that is a festival I would love to actually throw, and I would love to see.
I'd say throw Legend in there too.
Sure.
Have the original. It's amazing how many.
That would mean I'd have to see Legend again.
Well,
but I want to say that I think that maybe on a Blu-ray of Legend that they did replace the.
I'm curious to see it with that score.
But yeah, of course, yeah.
There is, I don't know the name, but the person who did the original score for Apocalypse Now was
David
replaced.
Shire.
But his score is on a CD.
Yeah.
James, James, I was going to ask you. Mention something. Of these films, is the original music you can hear it in other places, or is there stuff that you can't hear it at all?
In every one of these cases, the scores have been released separately.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I
had no idea.
Now, is David Shire the one that is like the Marathon Man, Parallax View, ding, ding?
He did.
It's actually Michael
Pelham
Small,
1, 2, 3.
But he did Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3, and The Conversation.
Yeah, 2 brilliant soundtracks. Yeah.
Well, I could hear that stuff just playing in my car and just.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's great. Okay. I take it back, James. I like that idea. I mean, to explain it was I could see it like being like there's like a music festival or a film music appreciation festival, and that would be like one of the nights you do that.
You know what? This was fine. However,
gotta go back.
Maybe the next one we actually do the topic.
Ooh, ouch. Ouch.
Well, James did preface it. We go, you guys are going to get mad at me.
It is open, though. But it's open to some interpretation.
James, I want to say I was intrigued, and I think this is very interesting.
Topic good? Isn't the topic fine enough?
It's my fantasy. It's my marquee.
Yeah, he has those nights to do whatever he wants to film.
It's his marquee.
It's your theater. You do it.
He wants to go up in the wind and put up all those little letters.
And to make a point, these are all genre titles.
Yes,
that's true. No, that's good. We didn't go to Blackfish or
Golden Pond.
How come it's
Working Girl or
James's Theater, though, the bathroom's always out of order at James's Theater.
Coincidence?
Okay, well, James, that was good. Well, okay, Matt. Well, what would you have at your theater?
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to go obscure. I wanted to go obscure, maybe to start with, to be hip, but I don't need that anymore. I've proven my hipness.
That's true,
right? You cats. Okay,
that's right.
Yes, Mr. Cocaine.
So here we go. I think you're going to like this. Okay. So it's something that we all know, but maybe something that some people don't know. How about Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
The first Star Wars, the original Star Wars,
yes,
and the Hidden Fortress.
Yes,
Akira Kurosawa.
You totally do see that. Yeah.
See now this
why? Well,
the reason is
yes,
I'm confused.
Are you really?
I am.
It's pretty well known.
The Hidden Fortress.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yes, it is.
So,
it is, Larry.
Okay.
The connection between the two films is fairly well known for fans of science fiction.
Connection. And I don't know. Here's the thing is I'm not sure which one should come first. I'm leaning towards maybe the Hidden Fortress coming first. Because then you'd look at Star Wars in a different way, because the Hidden Fortress Lucas was heavily influenced by The Hidden Fortress.
Yes.
A lot of the characters in the movie, you've got a Princess Leia, you've got a Han Solo, you have C-3PO and R2-D2.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all there as human characters. And a lot of the beats are the same.
Yeah, they're like escorting a princess.
Escorting a princess, right.
Right.
And having to, sort of make their way through all these dangerous people. And anyway, you should absolutely see this movie. First of all, just as a movie on its own. It's a great movie. It's one of Kurosawa's more lighthearted movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just beautiful to look at. I love Toshiro Mifune in anything. And he's great and just bigger than life.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch Star Wars and you'll be able to see and this is the thing that always gets me when I talk to people who don't watch a lot of movies about movies, because they'll say, oh, this movie was so good. And they're just like, well, yeah, but it copied this movie and that movie. And and they're like, oh, who cares? Well, I care. And I understand an homage. And I think Star Wars did it really well because it took something that was pretty obscure and it made it its own.
Yeah. And it also morphed it with, of course, the Flash Gordon serials and stuff like that. I mean, yes. but
I think it would be good. I think it would be a nice film education for someone who has never seen this movie to be, familiarized with it.
Yep, totally.
Sure.
I think you were right when you said it's influence, because I watched two movies back to back that I didn't think connected. You said Kurosawa, and I was watching Rashomon.
Oh, right.
For some reason, I put in Who's That Knocking at My Door, which I'd never seen, Scorsese's first movie. Mm-hmm. And in both movies, I go, wow, was he influenced by that movie? I would love to ask him, because in Rashomon, she's raped, which means she's off limits to her husband. Like, forget it. Someone else has been there. And in Who's That Knocking, Harvey Keitel's girlfriend admits to being raped, and he goes, he's Catholic. Oh, that's it. It's like, wow, I wonder if that was connected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and that was great about that time, too, is that you had these directors who loved movies, loved them. It wasn't just about making a buck. They really wanted to make good work, and they wanted to share some of the things that they learned from watching these other movies and use elements of that in their own films. And I think that's different than just blatantly ripping something off.
Yeah, I thought it was great because it was the two cultures, Japanese and Catholics. It was like, well, there's a similarity there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you also you have Kurosawa having influenced spaghetti westerns, right?
Because sure.
Fistful of Dollars was Jimbo.
It's almost beat. I mean, that was really almost beat for
Seven Samurai.
Magnificent Seven, and the Corman what was the Corman?
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars. They were both.
Totally.
That's right. Oh yeah.
Totally.
That was so great seeing Toshiro Mifune in Red Sun. He had to learn his dialogue phonetically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But also, Matt, you go all the way now to The Mandalorian, which is the baby cart series.
Baby cart,
it all comes back.
Even the Boba Fett series, they're actually using Japanese terms like daimyo. It's like, whoa, you're actually getting really literal now with the Japanese influence.
Right.
I'm on the fence about, but
that's. I would guess, Matt, that somewhere in some film school or whatever, they probably screened those two movies together, Star Wars and Hidden Fortress. I bet you they did.
I think it'd be a good way to bring somebody into that kind of movie.
Yep.
I have to say though, you brought up The Mandalorian, and I have really enjoyed The Mandalorian, except for one episode, which I think is pure.
What was the mileage on the Mandalorian? What was the mileage on that?
I always go for the leather interior. I know it's kind of out of vogue right now, but it just feels better. But there is an episode of The Mandalorian that
the second season.
Yeah. No, I think it's
the first or second season. Yeah. Okay.
But it's Seven Samurai. But it doesn't work because Seven Samurai, the part of the fun of that is gradually getting all the characters together before the big action even starts. And to do this in what are those episodes, like a half hour?
They vary sometimes up to 45.
But it didn't work. It was too fast and it was
too rushed.
And it just seemed clunky. But I mean, it is nice to see that somebody like Jon Favreau is also a student of these movies.
Well, actually is we do. Right. He understands cinema history.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Matt, and the UC Berkeley would always show The Graduate with the paper chase. And that's a perfect double bill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to remind the listeners, you can watch these double bills. Just, stream them. And
yes, right. You have choices you can make.
Right.
My next one is kind of silly, but I think it works. The Blob with the stuff.
I had that.
Oh,
I had that.
Sure.
Wait, Mark, which version?
Oh, the first one, 50.
Either works though.
McQueen, yeah.
You can make it a triple feature and throw in X the Unknown.
But in your land, in your marquee, it could be America.
But I had that. I had the same thing.
That's awesome.
I'm going to remind people, if they don't want to search for the Tubi, you have to deal with commercials, but they just added the stuff. Larry Cohen. You could never go wrong with a Larry Cohen movie.
No, you can't. You really
that one is pure entertainment.
I think it's Black Godfather or Black Caesar with Fred Williamson. Larry Cohen has the camera on a rooftop, so no one knows what's going on. He has Fred Williamson shot crossing the street in New York, and it's really interesting. It's a reality show because you see the people reacting.
He's really doing. Oh yeah, he would just do guerrilla filmmaking and just go out in the streets and shoot stuff.
God told me to.
Fred Williamson. Ran away, and then there's this guy that runs in and says something to him and runs away. It's Larry Cohen giving him directions.
That's great.
Nice.
Well, if you've seen God Told Me To, right?
Yes,
it has
Terry
the big
Musante, right?
Yeah,
and it has the parade.
He has this parade. There's a parade that's going on, and he actually gets Andy Kaufman to just
lose his shit.
To just like go into this parade. Yeah, and all of a sudden now you've got production value that you didn't have to pay for.
It's amazing.
I love no permit filming. I just love it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a good one.
Do a whole Larry Cohen, episode because he's
true.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Blob and the stuff, and the ending of the stuff is just fantastic.
Yes.
But the stuff is about basically a dessert that is made that is everybody wants.
Right.
Delicious, supposedly.
And it's kind of like sentient in a way.
I don't know. It's alive.
Yeah.
But then it's not good when it doesn't digest well.
It doesn't digest well. It takes over in a way that's almost Invasion of the Body Snatchers-esque.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of Shivers, maybe. Not.
Sure. Yeah.
I like it.
And since you brought up both versions, Larry asked which version. Of the
I've seen both.
I think the remake is wonderful.
There's a few remakes out there that aren't as bad. Like Night of the Living Dead in color isn't that bad.
Okay.
No, Savini, Tom Savini, I think directed that 90s.
And I like what he did with the characterization too.
Yes.
I know Matt. You know the comedian Alan Havey.
Oh yeah, I love Alan.
He comes to Vegas. We have lunch, and I was saying, you know what? I saw some remakes, and they're not that bad. I said I was watching Chinatown's remake, The Two Jakes. He goes, "Go, no, next one, no." I said, okay. The Postman Always Rings Twice, the Jack Nicholson one. He goes, "Stop talking." I don't want any part of it. Wow. I just love that. Stop talking. You're having lunch with someone. You're just having.
I love Havey.
Havey's so good.
I want to get him on the show. I've talked to him about it, but he's not a big horror guy, but he knows movies, and so I think it would work.
Yeah, he cancels gigs to go to the Film Noir Fest, the TCM.
Maybe that's what we need to do is film.
Really?
I should have next one I'm doing just as a teaser. I'll do my next one as Ben Mankiewicz.
Okay.
I like Ben Mankiewicz.
Yeah, me too. I'll do it now then. When you listen to his podcast, which is excellent, called The Plot Thickens, he does this commercial over and over again. I got his voice. Pam Grier. She was in Actions. She was black. She was from Denver. But it's just the way his cadence is.
That's great.
Wow.
Nice.
If I were to say, I get the Blob and the stuff. Here's why.
Very good.
Great. He's great. I got a famous last name. It works.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Now, doesn't somebody here have a container of the stuff?
Yes. Actually, I was at a Monster Palooza, and Larry Cohen was there at a booth selling, because he had a pile of actual stuff containers that were from the set, because he had tons of them left. Wow. And he sold them for like, I don't know, $40 each or something. Like, yes, I'll have one. Amazing. Yeah.
I bet you one of you has Soylent Green cracker box. I bet you one of you do.
I do.
I know, Matt. You have it. You have Soylent Green, a box of crackers?
My wife and I went to Soylent Green employees once, and we gave out Soylent Green, and like we had overalls and everything. We did the whole thing.
They made this horrible fucking thing. Just like these inedible crackers.
Something.
And they were passing them out. And people would go, oh, thank you. And then they'd eat them and go, oh.
I love Soylent Green. At the end of it, it's like, I just wish the guy running Edward G. Robinson's death wasn't Dick Van Patten. It was just like, oh no.
Yeah. For him to be the one that pushes the button.
The last face you see is Dick Van Patten.
No.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No. In fairness, the last face is not Dick Van Patten.
No, I know.
He takes the juice, and it's a very pretty guy and a very handsome man that are in that room. And so it
wasn't Wallace Shawn or Steve Buscemi.
Hey, it's not a bad way to go. You know,
no, I think when he goes, I'm going home, when they show like the Superdome, I'm like, that's a different movie. I would like to know what goes on in there other than that one scene, because there's got to be some shit going on.
Your fan
right,
fiction.
That's true.
No, there's a whole bunch of those rooms. Remember there was a line of people.
Yes, there's a bunch of them.
That's why there's more stories.
No, Mark, I know this is kind of off topic. So Edward G. Robinson goes up and he says, I like orange, and I want light classical. Do you think there's a guy like Matt goes, I want heavy metal, and I want grotesque images?
Well, if it's the kind of future.
Larry, that Edward G. Robinson was spot on.
But yeah, if they cater to everybody's, wishes before death,
Larry, I'm gonna teach Larry. Larry, look at me. Say, I love you, Thor.
I love you, Thor.
That's not bad.
I love you, Thor.
I don't know why he has a voice box, but that's not bad.
I need to work on it, okay? But all right. Well, I think Larry, Mark, those are good. Those are good.
Those are great. Yes. Take it away, Larry. Let
me throw out a couple. Let's say we're all going to Mars. We want to see films about Mars. Now, there's two that I really like, and I really love this one from 1964, directed by Byron Haskin, Robinson Crusoe on Mars, which at the time they tried to make it as realistic as they possibly could. This is with Paul Mentee, Victor Aluden, and with a small appearance by Adam West. And it's like this guy he's got to survive on Mars. And it's really, really cool. I love watching it. Sure, there are a couple of issues about the spaceships and the aliens and stuff, but
great.
I love it. And I would love to pair that with The Martian from 2015, directed by Ridley Scott.
Yeah, very good.
I like it.
And the thing that gets me about this film, I think Matt and I, we had a discussion, we got in some argument or something. I've watched it recently. It's one of these films I love watching. It's so well done. And it's like, it's a crime that Ridley Scott wasn't nominated as a best director. He was it's so great. It's so realistic. And I mean, take it to that step where now that we know so much about, when you're on a planet, where do you get your water from? How would you survive with your food? Heat. And then how do you communicate with NASA? All this stuff, it's so great. And I know Sue Murphy had some issues with it, but look,
if the whole thing was him, I would have enjoyed the movie much better.
That was definitely the strongest part of the movie, for sure.
And then who puts plastic over their fucking door and is surprised when it's blown away because of a storm?
Now, it wasn't he put plastic. It was actually one of those compartments that the seal had busted. So look,
it was a door to the outside that anything would have been better than just plastic.
Be that as it may, I love this. I love the film. Anytime it's on, I go, oh, I gotta sit and watch it. Even I know Sean doesn't like to watch commercials. Even if it's commercial television, I sit and I watch it because
it's a good double feature though, Larry, because because I mean the Robinson Crusoe on Mars was like the 60s, right?
Yeah.
So it's like looking at how they depicted that, back then with what they knew about Mars and space travel to what they know now. But I like that.
It's great. It's a great double feature.
Imagine in 1964 when they're creating it 63, they had these ideas of they tried to make, they knew that there may be air there, but it would be really, really thin, and how do you solve that issue and how you solve the food issue? I just thought it was great. And I love watching that film. So it's cool to see the 1960s version of living on Mars versus the 2015 version of Mars. So,
and you might add Soylent Green and Silent Running, because Bruce Dern and The Martian have something in common. We'll be right back. Sorry. Well, I lost the impression on that one.
Okay.
I was like,
Larry, I agree with Sean. That was perfect to show how the technology changed.
Yeah.
Because some movies from the 60s, like, oh, I wish, and they tried to do Fantastic
Yeah, they did the best.
and they never released it. They tried to do Day of the Triffids and never released it.
But what I love about Robinson Crusoe on Mars is the imagination. The Robinson Crusoe character finds this like plant. It's in the water.
Right.
It's like some sort of weird aquatic plant. And inside these plants, there's this thing that looks like a sausage.
Yeah, it's really
yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, and he tries some, and he goes, "Oh, that tastes pretty good." And he has got a little monkey friend that's keeping him company, and monkey has it, and so then he decides he's going to cook it up.
Right.
Cooks this stuff up, and what he doesn't realize is that when you cook it, it makes it into a hallucinogen.
Oh,
right.
It's got all the nutrients, by the way.
Yeah, and it's no longer good for you, but it's good for you in another way because it opens your third eye. I guess when you're up against hunger, you're going to take some chances when it comes to food. But I like the idea that it's food. It's still going to work for you as food, but just don't cook it because then you'll trip balls. And I thought that was a really clever idea, as with the things that create air.
Well, that's the rocks. How it's like, why is the fire coming out of the rocks? And if he closed up this cave, the air, the rocks would release air that would stay within the cave. I just thought it was really clever.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I love watching that film. I have a beautiful original one sheet from 1964.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful artwork, but two fun films about Mars. So there you go.
So
Sean, how about you, buddy?
Sean would have put in Mars Attacks. And
Wizard of Mars. Awesome. Okay, so here is a triple feature from the 50s that actually go together because not many people know that these three films are kind of in a shared universe. So the first film is a 1953 sci-fi movie. It's a cool kind of different type of sci-fi thriller called The Magnetic Monster.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is with Richard Carlson as a scientist, and it's basically they discover like this highly radioactive element that emits this very destructive magnetic field, and it's just causing chaos everywhere. And it's this energy field is just growing at this crazy rate and threatening all life on Earth. And Richard Carlson's character works for this department called OSI, which is the Office of Scientific Investigation. And so that's his character, and that's the company that he works for. It's kind of, it's like the X-Files investigates paranormal stuff. This is a organization that looks at, any kind of strange phenomena in science, right? Dangerous phenomena. And the producer, Ivan Tors, who made this movie, made other films that involve OSI. So the second film in this series was GOG, which was a robot that is in this underground laboratory with these scientists and kind of goes on the rampage, right? But the guy who investigates it is also from OSI. So he investigates, and there's these robots. He has to stop the rampaging robots. So it's a semi kind of sequel then to Magnetic Monster. And then the third film in the series is called Riders to the Stars.
Yes.
This was a group of astronauts who were recruited by OSI to travel into space because there's this meteor that they were trying to study, but it's a very dangerous mission and not all of them are going to live. And Richard Carlson, I believe, is in that one too. Not the same character, but it's in the same
acting.
Yes, yeah. So anyway,
he directed that one, didn't he, Sean?
I think you're right, Larry. I think he did. Yeah. And that Riders to the Stars was more of a kind of serious, more science-based adventure. Didn't have like killer robots or anything like that. Yeah. But all of them kind of fall into like a more science gone wrong arena. And I just think it's interesting that Ivan Tors kind of thought of this, as he made these different movies. You can look at them as unconnected, but they actually do because they all involve this fictitious organization called the Office of Scientific Investigation. So you have an OSI triple feature festival, and that's how I would schedule one of my evenings at this theater.
Cool.
Sean, that's a great triple bill. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
James
cool.
would know the answer. James would know the answer to this, but Sean, isn't the original score of that was by the Doors?
It was by the Doors, and they replaced him with the Ramones.
Riders on the Star.
GOG was 3D, right?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, but they're all fun movies, and I
got to do this.
Yeah, they kind of don't get mentioned a lot. I think
No.
I think they're cool. Actually, I think all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it could use some cool Blu-ray releases too.
I think it could use some commentary by Monster Party.
That's right.
I think that's
God
a
bless
great
you.
idea. That's
Could they all be released on like one box with all the same studio?
I think so. I mean, it was definitely Ivan Tors was the producer in all of them. So I think they're all United artists.
Cool.
So someone should, maybe Mill Creek or Shout Factory, someone come out and release the OSI trilogy.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to make some calls.
All right.
All right,
James.
James.
There's a good one. There's a lot of good distribution out there. Kino Lorber.
Oh my God, Kino Lorber is putting out so many great things.
Yeah,
and I feel sorry for Lorber because now people just say Kino.
That's true. That's true.
Well, Severin, and
Severin.
Still Criterion.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Criterion. Yeah, that's the best.
Right. So James, what is this? Is now sound effects from
no, James is going to
release documentaries to.
Okay, this is.
Oh no, I was right.
Uh-oh. Okay, this is a festival of 4, maybe 5 films that you cannot title the theme because it's going to spoil too much. It would have to be something like WTF Identity ?
Okay.
And these films are The Sixth Sense, Shutter Island,
Oh yeah.
Fight Club,
Oh yeah.
Angel Heart,
Oh yeah.
and maybe Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
And
the thing about
you can't say too much about what the
No.
common
know what
theme
though?
is
You know
in
what's
all
funny?
these
Yeah.
movies.
You know what's
But-
funny though, James? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
No, go ahead. Finish what you
I
said.
think Larry was going to say something. Matt, your thoughts?
They do have parallels.
Yes.
And the parallels are more or less consistent. And they do kind of almost make you need to see the film again to really completely appreciate what you were seeing and then understanding it better the second time around.
Minus Shutter Island.
Really? By the way,
that's what I was going to say.
Island, you could say, is Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Except why see that movie? Why not just go see Cabinet of Dr. Caligari?
You see
I'm just saying, the guy. It takes place in an insane asylum, and you don't know that till the end, so it has kind of the same feel to it.
But the thing about Shutter Island, like it's photographed very well. It has some good moments. But the thing about that movie, and I remember this though very clearly. I remember seeing the trailer for that movie, and I said, okay, is this what I think it is? Because if it is, that's way too. I could figure out the twist from the trailer.
Yeah,
it was just too obvious.
It
was like it's just it doesn't work. Whereas the other films you mentioned in this category, James, I thought did it much better. But Shutter Island, it's just too. It's an easy twist that is too obvious.
I figured it out as well. The thing about it, though, and I'm not defending it, because I have no desire to see it a second time, even to catch all the nuances, but there's a shit ton of nuances in it for those who are interested enough. I'm not saying that the movie is good enough to grab anybody to want to see it twice, because it is pretty obvious. But Scorsese, or the writer, does put enough nuances in it so that it's full of all of that. I mean, that is the context.
It's not nuanced. I would not call it, because it's during that phase of Scorsese when it was that real in your face kind of thing. Like
like the remake of
Cape Fear.
Yeah, which
it's like during that time, and then Gangs of New York, and I hate that whole period.
Yeah, you're right. He was off during that period. Like he was like
the remake was a little loud. My favorite line in the remake, though, because I like when they cast the original actors and give them a small part, and they gave that to Mitchum.
Yeah,
Mitchum,
that was like
he's the judge, or he's the one of the lawyer. Anyway, my favorite line is when Daenerys says something to him, cuts him down. He goes, well, pardon me, all over the place.
That is good.
I love that line.
And I liked De Niro smoking the cigar and laughing.
There's elements, but it's just, you're right. It's just
like, too much.
It's
loud.
so much. Like
it's loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
to hear the score in stereo reconducted by someone.
Who did the score?
Well, it was original Herman score from the first film that they.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That Bernstein definitely over the top.
Right.
It was over the top, and he did the same thing in Shutter Island. Only it wasn't an old score. He had Robbie Robertson take older scores and classical pieces, but that was over the top too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind. I don't know what your feelings are on this, but I don't mind Tarantino using other scores because it fits what he wants.
Right.
But that's like using rock and roll music.
Yeah,
I mean, writer, and then, but that's brilliant to know that much about composers that you go, oh, that little sting from White Lightning works in Inglourious Basterds. And I'm like, man, because you recognize the music. What's that from?
Right.
But it works.
I like that combination, James. I mean, I think that's a cool. Although I would think that if you go in knowing the theme after the first movie, it kind of ruins it for the rest of the film.
Then that's when you throw in Point Blank, because a lot lot of people think he's dead the whole movie. Really?
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks.
Oh, that's a theory. You watch it and enjoy it, Larry. Larry, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think, James, that was an interesting combination. And, thank you, James. That was really nice. Moving on.
Very nice.
Why don't you give us your batch?
All right. I'm going to do a triple feature then. I'm not going to let Shawn Sheridan have all the fun.
Okay.
So here we go. This is a Nazi zombie run, but it's a very specific type of Nazi zombie.
Right.
Not supernatural.
Right. Okay.
It's Nazi experiments.
It's more sci-fi-ish.
It's more sci-fi. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is The Frozen Dead.
Yes.
1966. Dana Andrews.
At the peak of his career.
Yeah. Oh man, he's so happy to be in this movie.
From Gilda to The Frozen Dead.
To The Frozen Dead.
Yes, doesn't get any better.
He is not happy about it himself.
No. So mad scientist is thawing out. They've got these Nazi soldiers on ice.
Right.
And they're going to thaw them out, and then they'll be like back again to go after democracy. But when they thaw them out, now they're all fucked up. Like the experiment doesn't work.
Well, they're cold. I know they're very, very cold.
They're cold and they're crazy. And they might work as like, hey, let's just throw them in a room and maybe they'll just go berserk and kill a bunch of people. But that's not really what they're going for. And then there's also at one point, the friend of the female lead in this gets captured by the scientist and he cuts off her head and puts her disembodied head in this weird tank. And it sounds like it's schlocky, and it is, but it's also really fun.
It is.
Especially when you, by the end, you've got this howling head that's just yelling at people like, kill me, like it's a lot of fun. So then I would take that one, and then I would follow that up with one of the greatest movies of all time, Shockwaves.
Yes.
Yeah.
1977, directed by Ken Wiederhorn. And this is the one where there's the ship that's out on a 3-day cruise or a 3-hour cruise. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know how long their cruise was, but they're out in the water and they get lost and they wind up on this island where there's this Nazi, and it's Peter Cushing, and he's sort of like the minder for all these leftover Nazi experimental super soldiers.
Peter Cushing, what year is this again?
77. It's right before Star Wars. It's literally the movie
like Tales of the
before
Crypt.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And what I love about it is that so these zombies don't just hang out in they're not in coffins or anything.
Right.
They're just lying there under the water around this island. And so when anyone shows up to the island, these guys just like get up out of the water. So the first time you see them, it's underwater photography of these blonde super soldiers with goggles in Nazi uniforms.
Yeah.
And they're just walking along the bottom of the...
What an image.
Yeah.
And they're completely silent too.
And they're silent.
And you got, it's great.
Yeah. And then of course they attack everybody from this cruise. and it's wonderful. If you haven't seen it, Brooke Adams is in it. She's terrific. John
Super hot.
Carradine.
Great.
Super hot.
Great creepy electronic music score. Yeah, that's a good one.
So now you got those two. And now I top it off with something modern. Okay, it's a found footage horror movie. And it might be a little hard to get into the conceit of how this found footage is made.
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
But if you take that away, it is a rockin' good time. And that is Frankenstein's Army.
Yes.
2013, directed by Richard Raforst. It's a bunch of Soviet troops that are invading Germany, and they come upon this bunker, and the bunker is this underground lab that is run by a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And he has taken these people and he has grafted all these weird attachments to them. So like instead of a head, they've got like a buzzsaw.
Like he's like weaponized them.
Yeah, everybody is super weaponized. And so they're these undead creatures that, you turn a corner and there's this guy who's got a buzzsaw for a head and 2 drills for hands, and they're just
crazy.
coming, and whoever designed these things did a wonderful job, because they are
very
shocking.
Unique. Yeah.
I personally love found footage movies.
Yeah, me too. When they're done right. Yeah.
When they're done right. And this one, again, it's ridiculous how they got all this footage and how they kept filming. But fuck that. Just go with it.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing before we get any letters, though? I made a mistake and I mixed up my Dana Andrews films. So I meant to say Laura, that Dana Andrews was in that film with Gene Tierney.
Not Gilda.
No, you said Gilda, right.
With Rita Hayworth. That was with Glenn Ford. So just
I always say Rebecca, and I'm thinking Laura. I always say Rebecca.
Yeah.
So just so you know. Okay.
I think only C. Courtney Joyner would have written in about that.
Probably.
But I have to say that Laura is a little known Nazi zombie movie.
Yeah. That
okay, I'm going to be Larry now. No, it's not.
It's not. It's a great movie.
It is a great movie, though.
Laura's a classic film. Yes.
Yes, and Clifton Webb. But we can talk about that another time.
We'll talk about that another time.
We'll save that for a Laura episode.
Sean, those are.
I am not Sean. I am Matt.
No, I know that, but I was just trying to shut Sean up.
I forgot that I existed for a second there.
No.
And those moments will get longer and longer.
Larry, you know what I mean, Larry. When you say something wrong, you have to make sure you correct it.
No, I get no, and that's good. We checked ourselves.
Which is what I wanted to say, and thank you, Sean. Look, we're not perfect.
We're not perfect,
but we want to set the record straight.
That's right.
And I really appreciate that about you and us and Monster Party. And
so much I appreciate about him.
There you go.
All right. Here you go.
Okay, Mr. Pitta.
Who's next?
Oh, my next? Oh,
all right.
This one I think is a really good double bill because the flavor of both the movies are kind of the same flavor. Bubba Hotep with the Lost Skeletons of Cadavra.
Well,
goofy feel to each of them. Although
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Bubba Hotep, I'd say I appreciate more. The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, I enjoy, but there's a little bit too much of the wink.
A little too goofy.
And clever I am.
Mark, can you tell us what that is, by the way? Can you just tell
Lost Skeletons of Cadavra is a movie shot on videotape and then transferred to film as a satire on B movies where the actors weren't that good, sci-fi actors.
It's done like it's a 50s movie. It's done like it's a Plan 9 from Outer Space type film.
Right. So when they blow their lines, it's on purpose or however.
Right.
Bubba Hotep, of course, is Mr. What's his name?
Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell is Elvis,
and he's great. He is so good.
He is really good.
By the way, I was going to do a double bill: Elvis with The King and I. But that's
with Deborah Carr and Yul Brynner.
Yeah,
no, Elvis was known as the king of rock and roll.
It was a play on words.
It's a funny one.
The marquee would look good. This is the part of
you're making a joke.
He's making a joke.
It's a funny.
Yeah, he said Elvis. That's what I said.
Okay.
All right. So
I left the building.
But
they never said Elvis has left the building, but he's selling merch in the lobby. They never say that.
What I love about, because I watched Bubba Hotep the other night, it was just on.
Really?
And I like that movie more every time I see it. And Ozzie Davis is fucking hilarious.
He is great.
He is so great.
He's President Kennedy.
He's John F. Kennedy. Yes.
Right. That's good. I like
maybe
that.
It wasn't. This is the best. I thought it had the flavor, like two fun movies, and maybe it was wrong. I'm crossing it out.
I
disregard. No,
I get. It does work though as a bill. Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
All right, Mark. Way to go, man. Okay. Remember when Star Wars came out and everybody wanted science fiction. We all wanted a space movie. We can't get a space movie fast enough. And there were a couple of films that were made within a couple years of time. And I don't think that they were appreciated at the time, but I loved both of them. And I would love to see these together in a double bill. And I'm talking about from 1980, Flash Gordon, directed by Mike Hodges, and Star Crash from 1978, directed and co-written by Luigi Cozzi, starring Caroline Munro and Christopher Plummer, David Hasselhoff, and with a musical score by John Barry. James?
John Barry, yep.
That's correct.
And, these two films, I remember, Sean and I, we've talked about this before. Star Crash, it is a low budget science fiction film.
Yes.
They made the spaceships in literally like 3 or 4 days, cut up pieces of wood, sticking model pieces on it, not even bother to take them off the trees, spray painted silver, and then throwing some Christmas lights on it, making outer space and Christmas lights. But again, when I saw this film, it was magical to me because it looked like, hey, this is something I could do. And I loved Star Crash, and I still do. And I love the fact that Christopher Plummer is in it, and put that together with Flash Gordon, which is a little slicker and
also very colorful.
Very colorful.
Kind of has the same energy vibe, though.
Yeah, and both have. And I love both films, and I know that there are people who've criticized them, but I guess they both have a cult standing now.
Larry,
of course.
Larry, wouldn't you say that Star Crash, it took 4 days to put all these models together and everything, but wouldn't you say it's like one of the best 4-day model science fiction movies ever? Like, there's so much in it.
Yes.
The stop motion animation.
Yes.
I mean,
because Cozy loves Harry Hasselhoff.
Imagine this. Imagine this for listeners. If you dabble in, like, if you're trying to become a filmmaker or something, there's always that thing where it's like, we need to put this together this weekend or whatever. That's kind of what it's like.
Yeah.
And I have photos of the people working on these, and it was probably, they were working like crazy hours, but it was the most exciting time for these people to be making this.
It's kind of like it brings up the spirit of like making your Super 8 films at the time, like when people went out to make these kind of, I'm going to film some spaceship models, and
it was featured in Cinemagic magazine.
Exactly.
And look, for listeners, I don't want you to think that, Larry recommends this film, I'm going to go watch it, and they're going to be all disappointed. Look, it is not a great film. Maybe it was something about the magic of the times and being so wanting space stuff at that time. But again, it grabbed me, and I just loved watching it, and I still love watching it to this day. And then, of course, Flash Gordon. A lot of people criticize. They go, "Well, this isn't Star Wars. This isn't,
That was the point. They tried to do something stylistically different.
You got to give them credit for. Look, our score. We're going to have the musical rock group Queen do the music. We're going to make everything bright and colorful, shimmery and stuff, and fantasy stuff. And maybe people just didn't like it. It did okay at the box office. And of course,
at the time,
Sam Jones, like Sean told me, I didn't know his voice was dubbed. And, it had its issues. But again, I'll never forget seeing it in the theater with my dad, my 2 older brothers. There were maybe about 10 other people in the theater. And I had such a great time watching that film.
Larry,
it was a blast.
Sometimes when you speak, it's like my dad is back alive again. Because the fact that you said the musical rock group Queen instead of just saying Queen. And you didn't just say rock group. You didn't say the rock group Queen. You said the musical rock group.
Well, yeah. I mean, am I wrong?
No,
not at all.
It almost brought a tear to my eye.
That's good. Yeah,
can I jump on this though? Because so now that's your double feature. Now,
yeah,
I was thinking for Flash Gordon, the best double feature for that would be Flesh Gordon.
Ah, yeah,
which I like better.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little racy,
It's racy, but it's also really well made.
Yeah, it's got some great stop motion in it.
Great stop motion, and it's funny. And then the other one that I would do with Star Crash would be Barbarella.
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
Or we could do Battle Beyond the Stars too.
Yeah,
actually, Barbarella and Flash Gordon would go well together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barbarella and Star Crash and Flash Gordon.
It kind of, it's a festival.
Yeah,
it's getting longer. It's getting longer.
Sean, here's another film festival we have to have at your place. So
exactly.
There you go. So there's a couple. There
Great,
you go.
I love it.
All right, so Sean, how about
you? Here's definitely another film festival. We're talking a 6-film festival here. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, you remember the year 1984, right?
Do I?
And there is a movie that came out that, while this movie may not be so beloved for us, there is a generation that just ate it up, and it was very influential. And that would be 1984's Gremlins. Okay.
Yes.
Gremlins was a big hit, and it spawned lots of imitators.
Oh,
I say, let's have a Gremlins ripoff festival.
So give it to us.
You start with Critters from 1986.
Critters.
Ghoulies, 1984. Troll from 1986.
Yeah.
Hobgoblins from 1988.
Yep.
Wow.
Munchies from 1987. And Elves from 1989.
Elves.
And we're talking and the cast in these. I mean, you got Sonny Bono and Troll. You got Harvey Korman and Munchies. You got Dan Haggerty and Elves. You got Emmett Walsh and Critters. I mean, it's a festival.
Where was Dick Van Patten?
That's true.
Wait, Sean, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did you go to the internet and just Google genre film? Because are all these from your head?
All the ripoffs of Gremlins are in my head. Yes.
Yeah,
okay. Because I have them all. I have.
Yeah.
But not only that, but all of these ripoffs themselves spawned numerous sequels.
Wow.
So you have several Critters films, several Ghoulies films, 2 Troll films. Luckily, only 1 Hobgoblins films, 3 Munchies films.
Wow.
So if you were to go crazy and spend a week of completely going crazy, watch all of them. But I would say watch the first of each of those ripoffs. And instead of watching Gremlins again, and you know what? I would say watching all these together would still be more enjoyable than Gremlins 2, which was a complete joke.
Next Monster Palooza, I want you to say this to Joe Dante.
Hey, I like Critters more than Gremlins.
Actually, I do too. I do too. This is something that probably not a lot of people know, is that the script for Critters was actually written before Gremlins came out.
Wow.
So of course it was laying around, and then Gremlins came out as a huge hit. So let's dust off that Critters script and make But you're right. The Critters is actually a fun movie. Dee Wallace is in it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But we do hope to get Joe Dante on the show one time. So
I like a whole lot of what Joe Dante does.
Yes, of course.
God, yeah.
I heard him. They let him sit in on Video Archive. They didn't let him talk much, but he used to cut trailers, and I would love to get his take on how they were instructed to cut trailers, because trailers have gone downhill as an art.
One of Dante's famous sayings stories that he said about those days when he cut trailers was that a lot of times he was cutting trailers for Roger Corman, and the trailers just weren't that good. The movies just weren't good. He couldn't even make a good trailer. So they would literally throw in a generic shot of a helicopter exploding in these trailers, and randomly in some of these trailers just to make it more exciting. But he started out cutting trailers for sure.
I love trailers that were written for Hitchcock did his own trailers.
Yeah.
Albert Brooks's trailer to Real Life is very funny. Has nothing to do with the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And the end of it is just taking a paddle ball towards the camera. It's real life. It's just
it was back in the day when trailers were made simply to intrigue you.
Yeah.
Not to. I mean, I think I've mentioned this before, but the original trailer for The Exorcist is like, what the hell is going on in that movie?
What it should do. Shutter Island is like you figured it out from the trailer.
Yeah.
It's the original trailer to Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Mind blowing. Yeah.
No, trailers
just enough.
You can see the formula now in every trailer that comes out, how they're like literally from a cookie cutter.
No
It's
shot
ridiculous.
is longer than a second and a half.
Yeah, it's
And
terrible.
they always do the thing where they show all the credits and then they come back with a little tag.
Yeah. It's,
oh my God. So I don't watch them anymore. Really.
I know.
Hey, Sean, I gotta say, I can't say I've seen all of these. Is Elves really that good? I mean,
Elves is pretty awful. Munchies is pretty awful. Hobgoblins is pretty awful. Troll is just hilarious, and of course, Troll 2 is something in and of itself.
Totally different.
Would you throw a Leprechaun in there?
You could throw a Leprechaun, kind of, but it's a little different.
Matt's the authority.
It's more Leprechaun though has elements of like Freddy Krueger because he's doing the wisecracks before the killings. Whereas these movies weren't that. They were like little creatures, they didn't like talk much or whatever.
Leprechaun was like written by Shane Black, where they always had to have like a funny line.
Yeah. But more like Child's Play, Leprechaun, I would say too.
Yeah, that's a better combination. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, Sean, that's a good one. Yeah,
I like it. He's holding some of his enthusiasm back, but that's okay. James.
Okay. All right.
All right. I got a double feature, and out of all the ones we talk about, this is maybe the most diametrically opposed double feature you can think of, and yet the most similar at the same time.
Okay.
Because I cannot think of two movies that are more alike, and one of them is a found footage film from Japan about the making of a zombie movie.
Oh, okay.
And this has come up before.
Love it.
It's called One Cut of the Dead from 2017.
Genius.
Right.
The other one is an adaptation of a Broadway play by Peter Bogdanovich.
What?
From 1992, and it's called Noises Off. And
I've seen that.
And it's based on a Broadway play by Michael Frayn, which I actually saw on Broadway.
Carol Burnett.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get it. I totally get it.
What both of these things do, what both of these movies do, is that the first half is more or less you see the rehearsal of a very intricately choreographed. In the case of One Cut of the Dead, it's a zombie movie. In the case of Noises Off, it's a screwball stage comedy.
Okay.
But the timing has to be perfect against all odds, because all through the first act, the actors are drunk. They've got personal interactive issues. They're stumbling. There's fights. There's arguments. There's accidents. And in the second half, you see everything come off miraculously, and again, against all odds, without a hitch. Now, again, one is a found footage zombie movie. The other one is a Broadway stage adaptation, and completely diametrically opposed. And yet, the way that these movies are so meticulously put together, as far as the timing, and the theme of, okay, how are they going to pull this off? Is this actually going to happen? Against all odds, and against all odds, it does. They manage to, by the scruff of their necks, make the thing happen miraculously. Both of these would be, for me, an insanely perfect double feature for two movies that are so apart, it's not funny.
And it works perfectly. Yeah.
That's great, because I was ready to judge you, and yet I can't.
And I can't think of another example.
Would there Soapdish be in there, or the scene from Tootsie?
Close, but not as intricately. I mean, so focused. Both of these movies are so focused.
I watched the Noises Off movie, which I thought was okay. I was lucky enough when I was working in San Francisco at this theater, they had Noises Off play there. And what was wonderful is that you had the set of the play, and then that set would turn around, and then you'd see backstage. Yeah. And that was cool. So it was like the first act was the play, the second act was backstage, and then the third act was the ramifications of all the nonsense that was happening during the backstage part.
That's cool.
As James was saying, there's somebody's having an affair with someone, and all these things are going wrong. It's so wonderful to see it live like that, because you get that timing. Where everything has to be just perfect. When it's cut up, it's not quite the same.
Right. In the movie, it's like almost like watching a magic show in a movie. It's like, well, it's a movie. It's not
right.
And that's why One Cut of the Dead works so well as a found footage movie, because it feels live. It feels spontaneous.
Right. The found footage part helps it.
Yeah. And Noises Off really only works as a stage play. There's almost no point in seeing the movie.
Matt, was the theater you worked at the Metro?
I believe it was the Curran.
Well, the Current was you were talking about legitimate
in San
theater.
Francisco.
Yeah. I knew you were at the Current because you had that great Jack Lemmon story.
Oh, yeah.
That's episode 38 if you're interested.
All right, so there you go.
Nice.
How about
Those
that?
are very, very.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. I liked it. So
All right,
mine is a strange pairing, but they are thematically correct. They are thematically in the same wheelhouse. So here we go. The Black Hole, 1979.
Yes.
Disney, their big science fiction movie with Maximilian Schell and Robert Forster and Ernest Borgnine and Anthony Perkins. This is an amazing, Roddy McDowell.
Yep.
And so it's a great cast. It's beautiful to look at, but it's not the greatest movie you'll ever see. But I am strangely drawn to it.
I'm the same way, Matt. It's that same kind of love-hate thing.
I can't understand. Like, I think it just looks so amazing that I get caught up in that.
Yeah, and it's so different. You know?
It's odd. It's very odd.
Yes.
And so I would pair it up with the 1997 science fiction horror film Event Horizon.
Ooh, that's interesting. I like that movie a lot too. That's an underappreciated film.
That is an underrated movie. That's with Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill, Kathleen Quinlan. And
it's like a darker version of the Black Hole.
Right. See, both movies have a lost spaceship.
Yeah.
That they have to go find out what happened to it and solve its mysteries. And then both movies involve the ship or members of that ship going to hell.
It's true.
Black Hole has a very controversial ending that most people didn't like. I didn't like it. I think we can all agree no one liked it, right?
I didn't like it.
It was just weird. They didn't know what to do with it, I think. It's just it was like, just let's make it really weird. And
so it's like
there's
they
no
go
made
through the
me
black
angry.
hole.
I was angry.
I'm with you, Larry. Me too. Now I'm farther away from it that I can appreciate just its oddness. But back then it was like, no, this is bullshit.
Nothing wrong with enjoying a movie for other elements.
Yeah. There's a lot to appreciate in the Black Hole. And Event Horizon, I think, is scary. And there's supposed to be another version that was made that was, of course, there's always like the longer cut that was better. And this one's supposed to have more horrific violence, which I would have enjoyed. But I thought it was pretty scary just the way it was.
Yeah, I love the concept of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Event Horizon has a very dark, alien-esque kind of feel to the ship and very industrial, whereas the Black Hole is very bright and beautiful. And so I think it's a nice juxtaposition of two styles, but yet the same themes.
That's cool.
There you go.
That's a good one.
I have to redeem myself because I don't like to disappoint Matt, and he did not like my pairing of Bubba Hotep.
I didn't dislike it.
What's that?
I didn't dislike it.
I know. I should have said hobo with a shotgun now that I think of it. But I'm going to go. It doesn't. You don't have to be horror sci-fi, apparently.
Well,
no.
Don't that's according to James.
Don't listen to James. See, let me explain something about.
Because we're called Monster Party.
Yeah, so let me explain something about James. James always has one foot out the door. He is ready. If he has to put two science fiction or horror movies together, no, he's got to get Serpico in there, or
James always tries.
People like Serpico.
I love
Serpico. James, you're missing the point. It's like James always has to throw in that little funky thing that it's like what it's like that is so left field, man.
It makes you think that he doesn't really like our show,
or he doesn't care. It's like
I think he cares.
I
think he cares, but I don't think he cares about what we like.
But it's like I think what happens is it's that funky twist. And at first I get mad, I get angry, and then as he goes through his long-winded explanation, I go, "Okay, I can see it. Yeah, all right." And I learned something, and James always brings something different.
Well, he is. He's sort of like, that's what I love about having James on the show. To be serious, is that he is the wild card.
Yes.
And he will throw something in there that you're like, what?
I will take that.
Yeah. And so he keeps us on our toes. And then he gives us something to get angry about.
He's a little off the beam. He's like the Peter Tork of Monster Party.
Exactly.
I would say more Pete Best, but
I was gonna say like the guy, the beatnik in the movie, who's like the wisdom sayer, who
is
always asleep in the back corner, and then all of a sudden, once every day
comes out with some
and says something brilliant. And
Right.
Well, I only have one left. That's a legitimate double bill, but it's not horror sci-fi, but it's a thriller. 2 thrillers.
I think thrillers works.
Okay.
Thriller works.
Murder.
Yeah.
You know the French film Purple Noon, which they remade it in America as The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Does not hold a candle to Alain Delon. Sorry.
All right.
Great movie. Purple Noon should be watched with The Last of Sheila. Both take place on ships, murders, and here's the thing I watched. I'm like, holy cow! I saw something in Purple Noon. There's a scene. It doesn't give much away, where Alain Delon is on the phone, and the guy he killed, he has to impersonate on the phone. Now, what they do is use the guy's voice, and he just lip syncs. Same thing. Richard Benjamin impersonates.
Oh my gosh, James Coburn. Yeah,
I hated that part of the movie because it's so much. You can tell he's lip syncing James Coburn.
Yeah, but I didn't mind it because
later they need that as a plot point.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Mark, we were talking about Columbo being like my favorite mystery series. My favorite mystery feature film is The Last of Sheila. That movie is genius. It is directed by Herbert Ross, written by Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins,
who must have seen Purple Noon, because that's a trick thing that I've never seen in any other movie.
It is just a crackerjack whodunit mystery with this dream 70s cast: Richard Benjamin, James Mason, Joan Hackett, Raquel Welch, James Coburn, Diane Cannon, Ian McShane. It's insane and is so good, and the twist of mystery is great.
This is for Larry. This is for Larry. Little child molester as opposed to big child molester.
Exactly. plus, it takes place all in and around people in the movie business, and it's. James Coburn is like the big successful producer, and they're all trying to suck up to him, and it is so good though. It is a great.
We all like that one,
movie.
right?
My favorite.
Yeah, that's a great film.
But for people that don't go to foreign films, Purple Noon is so good. That ending is so. You just love the filmmakers when they set it up. They don't have to show you the ending because you know the ending, and he just walks away, and you're like, perfect.
Oh, wow.
But a lot of people go like, I watch movies. I don't read movies.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. I will not engage in that.
Yeah, that's great. But Purple Noon and Last of Sheila, I think.
It's great.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's not horror sci-fi.
I'm so glad you mentioned that film. Yeah,
Larry, your thoughts?
Mark, those are great. I really like those ones. But I'm gonna go in kind of the James Gonis world now. I'm gonna go out in left field here.
Wow.
There are a couple films that are there are some scary horror elements in it, but maybe they're more fantasy related. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to do a double bill that reminds me of my childhood, or I would love to see these two films together. From 1968, the wonderful Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, directed by Ken Hughes, and
The Car.
Willy Wonka. No! Why do you interrupt me? I'm doing a beautiful presentation. Let me throw this in.
You can start over.
No. Okay, so Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and of course, The Car. No, that wasn't what I was going to put.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and Willy Wonka. Don't apologize. You're not really sorry. I said it.
Sorry. No, I am really sorry.
No, you're not. You're all. You're inside your. I made it funny.
No, you don't.
No, I know you. But it's like getting back to from 1971, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Mel Stewart. Now, you guys, Chitty Bang Bang, about the flying car. It's a wonderful, wonderful film. And look, there's a very scary thing in there. There's this child snatcher. And I remember seeing this as a kid, and that guy freaked me out.
Is that a little child snatcher? It was a big child snatcher.
No,
different movie.
He's like, this nose of mine can smell children a mile around. He's very, very scary. But I love the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car. I love the little tune that they play. I love the way it opened. I enjoyed this so much. The film did okay at the box office. It wasn't like a huge hit. But as far as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory by Mel Stewart, this is totally magical. I'm talking about the one with Gene Wilder, and it's so wonderful. And talk about scary stuff. Look, these kids, the stuff that happens to these kids, it's not all fun and games. Really, the scariest one to me is the first kid, the Augustus Gloop, who, I mean, he freaking almost drowns, and he's this fat kid, shoved in this tube, help, help. And, Willy Wonka makes so light of it. And also there's that really freaky thing when they go through this tube, on the boat where Gene Wilder does this, is it really glowing? And you're like, what is going on? And someone even said, is this really for kids? But look, it does have scary elements in it, but I love these as a kid. And I think this would make a great double bill for kids and adults alike, not the car.
Larry, I think that's a great double feature, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is a good double feature.
I think it's a great double feature.
Willy Wonka is definitely a lot more cynical, and it's a lot more hip,
yes.
But I will argue that for all the controversy that Willy Wonka might have for the cruelty on the kids, I was a little older when I saw Willy Wonka, but I would argue that child catcher character and those scenes in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang strike more of a primal chord with kids to be taken away from their parents like that than anything in Willy Wonka.
You see that? Because what happens to those other kids is so out of the realm of possibility.
Right. Yeah, and they're all brats, so they have it coming.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I have a question for Larry and James, who I know both of you love Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Are either of you aware that Brent Sorensen of Brent's Dolls has made a child catcher figure, Mego size?
Ooh,
yes.
It's like they're on eBay now for like $60. I'm surprised you guys haven't picked it up.
Well, I have the entire, I think it was a 4-inch set of all the characters in the car in scale.
Okay.
So actually,
but the figure,
catcher, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, the Mego figure, it's like a Mego figure. It's pretty awesome. I'm not even into that movie that much, but it's a great figure. Yeah. But Larry, I agree. That's a good. I mean, I have my thoughts about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I mean, Willy Wonka is one of my favorite movies of all time, literally. Yeah, it really is. It strikes that kind of magical chord in me. So but I can see that as a double feature for sure.
Right. I know people will ask about, but what about the Johnny Depp version? It doesn't have no, I don't want to be. I mean, where it's reimagined. It's missing the heart.
Yes,
of course,
unnecessary.
Yeah,
and are there interesting elements of it? Yeah, it looks interesting, and there's some interesting twist things. But honestly, anytime, Sean, if the Gene Wilder one is on, wherever it is, I stop and I watch it.
Yeah, everything about that movie is the music, the performances, the look,
and you
everything.
Could say maybe it's simple, and the effects. It's like again something. It has a magical heart quality,
and it has layers to it. It really does. It's incredible. Yeah. Great movie.
Thanks, Sean. Okay,
Larry, a golden ticket on that one.
Hey, thanks, Mark.
Nice.
Throw in bed knobs and broomsticks on that double bill.
Not as magical.
Different.
I put that in a different.
I would double that one with Mary Poppins because the Sherman brothers did both of them.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah,
I put it with Darby O'Gill and the Little People, but
the Witches of Eastwick.
The car.
Why don't you give us
a car?
No car.
There's a third Willy Wonka, but it's called Chocolat.
Oh,
okay. All right. That's funny. Let's get to Sean now.
There's nothing more endearing to a comedian when a person you try to make laugh says, "That's funny."
But that's all comics. That's all comics. Actually, I thought the third Willy Wonka movie is the porn version, which is simply called The Chocolate Factory.
Oh man! Wow. If you're just tuning in,
I know it. Here it comes.
Okay. So, Sean, please get us out of here.
All right. Here's a 4-film special for you. There is a movie, Larry, you'll be excited to hear this if you don't know about this yet. There is a film that we've talked about a lot. It's kind of a notorious 50s film that's not very good, and yet I have a spot for it, and it just came out on Blu-ray, and it's amazing. Okay. And that is Kurosu, Beast of the Amazon.
Oh, yes.
Which, by the way, I after watching the movie again for a long time, I realized it's pronounced Kurosu, not Kuroku.
No.
So, yeah, so it's Koresu.
I didn't know that.
But in the trailer says Koraku, doesn't it?
Well, in the movie, which I just watched on Blu-ray, they say Koresu. So anyway, this movie is like a jungle adventure. It's kind of sort of horror because it has this supposed monster stalking natives and killing people in the jungle, right? But the female star of this movie is Beverly Garland. And I would say, let's do a Beverly Garland festival because she's been one of my favorite scream queens because, first of all, she's in lots of great genre flicks, but unlike a lot of scream queens from that time, especially, she always had a toughness to her. Oh, yeah. And she could be very sexy, and even when she's the damsel in distress, she could take care of herself. I mean, she's tough but hot at the same time. So I would say, here are the films of some of her best genre roles. So I would say the classic Roger Corman film, It Conquered the World. Right. Where she's married to Lee Van Cleef, who is in contact with a Venusian alien, and pair that with Koresu, Beast of the Amazon, and then Not of This Earth, which is a great film but she's Not of This Earth is great because she's like a nurse and trying to take care of this mysterious guy who's really an alien, who's like a vampire. And then of course I would top it off with The Alligator People, where she's a wife who finds out that her husband has been injected with a strange alligator serum to turn into a half alligator man. And of course Monster Party did the commentary on that film for the Blu-ray release. So I think those 4 films are a great showcase for Beverly Garland as kind of a top scream queen from the 50s.
Before Monster Palooza, there was the Ray Courts autograph shows, and they were always held at the Beverly Garland Hotel.
Right. I got her autograph. I did years ago.
Yes. There,
Yes. No, she was great. Yeah. I mean, she went on. She became like a regular on Scarecrow and Mrs. King. I think she was Kate Jackson's mom, and she did tons of stuff. But those 4 50s genre films are just her.
Well, where does she say "I'll see you in hell" first? Is that her line?
Oh no, that's in It Conquered the World.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah. When she's shooting in the Bronson Caves, shooting at the monster. Yep.
Okay.
The festival would have to be held at the Beverly Garland.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it still there? Because I know when she passed away, did they lose it?
I don't know if they call it the Beverly Garland anymore.
Yeah, I think it's been renamed now.
Oh.
Yeah. We call Mel's. We still call it Ben Frank's because it's the exact same place.
Oh, yeah.
All right. There you go.
You pass Mel's, the roof says this is Ben Frank's. That weird roof. I'm like, I miss Ben Frank's because you go there at 2 a.m. all the hookers would be there and the rock stars, the musical rock groups, and almost a great place.
All right, so there you go.
Nice one, Sean. All right, James.
Very good.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to film soundtracks.
All right,
4 films. This is, I want to call this festival the Great Jerry Goldsmith Conspiracy Festival of 1978. Because these are different studios, but somehow they all have kick-ass Jerry Goldsmith scores. And this was the year that I got into Jerry Goldsmith, the first one being Capricorn 1.
All right.
Great.
Coma.
Yes, excellent. Great score.
Boys from Brazil, which got him an Oscar nomination.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And Omen 2. And these are all kind of conspiracy-driven movies. And if you wanted to add 2 more movies, from 1978, he also did The Swarm and Magic, and then you could call it the Paranoia Festival of 1978.
I like it.
It was an incredible year for Jerry Goldsmith.
My God, yeah, all those soundtracks are amazing.
Yeah.
Did he do the soundtrack to Straight Time, or was that Shire? Because I have
that was Shire. Shire.
That's
also
good.
a great
I like
score.
It.
That is a good one, James. I like it.
Cool.
He's married to Talia Shire.
That's right.
You have redeemed yourself, James.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, I am still in the doghouse.
You gotta pull it out, man.
Over with my lightning round.
There's a lightning round. Will turn this all around. I swear.
I don't know if you're a listener, don't fast forward, but it's going to be good.
All right,
Matt.
Okay,
bring
Matt.
us home.
Here we go. 2 movies, very similar in theme, 2 very different budgets.
Okay.
Aliens.
Okay.
The sequel to Alien.
Mm-hmm.
And The Green Slime.
Oh,
I like that.
Nice. Yeah.
Green Slime. So
wow.
you watch Aliens and you see all these aliens attacking these Marines, and there's lots of special effects and great practical effects and explosions and spaceships flying around. And then you think, well, what if I didn't have quite as much money as they did? What can I do? And that's the green slime.
That's right.
They spent all the money on Luciana.
Right.
That's right.
It's all casting because it is a great cast.
Yes, Richard Jekyll. Yeah.
Richard Jekyll, I love in everything.
It's a big. There's so many cast members in there.
There and lots of extras, and it really does seem like a big production.
Yeah,
and there are lots of aliens.
Lots of aliens, and that's the thing too. Is that with the green slime, you get sort of a similar theme when it comes to an alien that starts in one form and then becomes something else as the film goes along. So at first it's just like this kind of green mold, and then it turns into like a little baby green slime, and then it's like a full-size guy in a suit green slime, and there are these incredible monsters with a big eye and tentacles, and they just kind of waddle around, and they're just so toxic. If they touch you, you get burned. And the sound effects that they produce, are just, oh man. For a really low budget movie, it really moves. It's exciting. There's some nice little interpersonal things that are going on in it. That's another one where I would say to the kid right now who, like, even Aliens would be, I think, to a lot of kids these days, like, oh, what is that? That's not CGI.
Yeah, you're right.
But I would want to say, like, look, suspend that part of your mind. Go back in time and imagine that it's the 60s and you're trying to get this big space epic going, and you're going to use whatever you got, and fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's just make it happen. And they did. And then on top of it, you get a little theme song. You get the green slime single.
Yeah. And no, it's so energetic. I mean, by the director of Battle Royale of all things.
That's right.
I mean, it's
Kinji Fukasaku.
Yep. Right. Yeah. No, you're right. That's a good. They both have the same kind of vibe in different decades, You're right, different productions, but they kind of it's
colorful,
a good combination.
Yeah. Although I would say Aliens is probably less colorful.
I meant the.
Oh, you mean the green slime?
Yeah. And it's such a joy to watch.
And that's another thing too. I'm glad that you pointed out the color thing, because you've got Aliens, which sure to make a lot of their effects not so obvious and get away with some things.
Right.
It's in a darker environment.
And it works.
It works.
Yeah.
No, of course. Aliens is one of my favorite films of all time. But then you've got the green slime, which everything is really brightly lit.
Yeah.
And that works, in my opinion.
It does. It does.
Brought something up, but why do you think it is younger people have a hard time with older movies? Yeah, don't you get it? There's a rotary phone. Get over it. It's like, why?
They can't. It's not all their fault, because back in the day, we had 3-4 channels.
Yeah.
And we watched what was on. So because of that, we were forced to watch things that we might not have normally as a child picked out. But then we got used to the fact of like, oh, this is a modern movie. This is an older movie. And we could look at those movies and view them with the eyes of the past. You could put yourself in like, okay, well, that's really great for what they had at the time.
Yeah, you're just right. I think plus, just nowadays, we're talking about when there was no such thing as cell phones or email or the internet or VHS. Right. There's so many, but even as a kid, I do remember, I don't know if maybe it's just a thing that works for us. Like even as a kid growing up, like in the 70s, I could still look at a silent film and appreciate it.
Yes.
Which I don't know if today,
coming
back to film from the 50s, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
That's why I was shocked when The Artist won Best Picture, because it goes
black and white. Yeah.
And I love the silent movie with Mel Brooks, because the only one who speaks in that is Marcel.
Yeah. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
I love that movie.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, you've waited for it. Here it is. The line you always hear every episode. Larry, your cue.
Well, this has been great.
Oh,
this has been so much fun. We can go on and on. No, seriously, no, but it's like, look, this has been a lot of fun.
This could be a recurring one, I think. Too.
I really come on. No, none of us have even remotely gotten through our lists, right?
Yeah, I have I have lots more.
I still have a lot more. But I did. The funny thing is, listening to all of these things, I say to myself, it's like, gosh, that would be a great, double, triple feature to do. And what's great about this too is now a lot of these things are on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, you can have your
listeners. Yes, Sean, they could do what Sean did, which is sometimes it's like, hey, invite like a bunch of friends over. We're going to have this viewing party.
Recreate.
These 3 films or something, and it could be loads of fun.
Oh yeah,
yes,
that'd be cool.
But what do you guys say we do a lightning round?
Lightning round.
You up there, huh? How about that, Mark? Why don't you give it? Get just really quickly. Here we go.
Give us like 55 more, real quick.
No.
These are the quick ones that are just meant to be funny, and I'm relying solely on my delivery.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
This would have been great for Larry to put on the marquee on that ladder with the wind. 2 movies he'd have to spell. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, with extremely loud and incredibly close.
Nice.
That would be a lot of letters.
Yeah.
I could go for this simple one, the birds and the bees, but I didn't.
Oh, no. Very nice. Very good.
Little girl who lives down the lane with Last House on the left.
Great, sir. Yeah.
Nice.
And I wrote some during the show because of Sean. I didn't realize we could do more than 2. I would go Outbreak, DOA.
That's great.
The Loved One with The Departed.
Okay.
Of course, we have It with The Thing.
Right.
Nice.
I have Village of the Damned with Children of a Lesser God. Room with a View with Peeping Tom.
Oh, nice. Throw a rear window in that one.
Say it every episode. Night of the Lepus with Day of the Dolphin.
Oh man.
I'm saving my Lepus one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, the Lepus is back.
Yeah.
Mark, those are all great. Those would be fun.
Fantastic.
Really, really fun.
That's good.
Well, how about just really quickly, I'll throw out 2. One would be, how about Peter Lorre one? How about like Mad Love from 1935, also known as The Hands of Orlok, and The Beast with 5 Fingers.
Yeah,
1947. So okay,
nice.
And then how about another one here? How about Destination Moon from 1950? This is George Powell, and Conquest of Space. These are both 1950s space films, and those are 2 that I'd love to see.
I like.
So, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Sean, why don't you give us a couple?
Okay. Here's a disembodied head triple feature.
Nice.
We got The Thing That Couldn't Die,
Right.
with The Brain That Wouldn't Die,
Right.
with They Saved Hitler's Brain.
Oh,
Okay. I think,
Yeah.
of course, superheroes are all the rage now, but what about some cheesy Euro superheroes? Like Super Argo versus Diabolicus.
Nice.
Sequel, Super Argo versus the Faceless Giants.
Yeah.
Another unrelated film called Argo Man, the Fantastic Superman, and Supersonic Man.
Wait a minute. This is an episode of Who Would Win?
Right. And finally, I would say, why not watch all of the great genre pairings of Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi together?
Or Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, too.
Yes, that's true. But that would be even more. That would be like an all year long.
There's like 50 films or more, right?
Yeah, but there's a finite number that Karloff and Lugosi did together. So I would say, watch The Black Cat, The Raven, The Invisible Ray, Son of Frankenstein, Black Friday, and The Body Snatcher.
Oh, that's a great list.
Yeah. They're all at the top of their form. It's all good classic horror films.
That would be a fun one.
You forgot the car.
And the car.
No, they weren't in.
And Gilda.
Car.
And
No.
Now that's not going to make any sense now.
Aw, damn.
Oh, still will.
All
Ruined
right,
everything.
Sean, those are great ones. James, how about you?
All right. Sticking with the Universal Classics, The Ladies, The She-Wolf of London, The Invisible Woman, and Dracula's Daughter.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Ooh.
I would not include The Bride of Frankenstein because she's only in it for a heartbeat.
Sure, yes, not really. It's not centered around her.
Yeah,
Right, yes.
Fair. Yeah,
I like that.
That's a good list. Yeah.
2 shameless Jaws ripoffs, Grizzly from 1976 and The Last Shark from 1981. Where not only is it animals attacking, but they needed to throw in a Brody and Quint ripoff.
Right.
And in Grizzly, a Hooper ripoff too.
Richard Jekyll.
Right.
Right. Wow. By the way, before I forget, has anybody seen Cocaine Bear?
Is that any good?
Not seen.
No, I just asking.
Oh no, I haven't seen it yet.
I saw the preview, which is it's long and it looks funny and stuff.
I know. I'm wondering if it's a good trailer and not a good movie. You know,
right? Yeah,
possible. Yeah.
Okay, bear with me. I would love to pair The Conversation from Francis Coppola and Enemy of the State from. Even though I'm not a Tony Scott,
I know why.
Because Gene Hackman plays more or less the same character. And it's a stroke of fucking genius.
Okay,
to bring him back years later as this kind of paranoid, ultra paranoid shut-in, because he's been, and it's a movie about paranoia anyway, right? So that is
James. Don't you know that in Enemy of the State, when they show his ID card, it's Harry Caul.
It's Harry. It's the same.
Oh, really?
The same character. Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Brilliant.
That's cool.
Brilliant.
That's cool. I like that.
And then finally, Die Monster Die, Burn Witch Burn, Scream Blackula Scream, and maybe Run Lola Run.
I love that.
Nice.
I like it.
Why didn't you lead with that? We would
no. You gotta end. That's the closer.
That's a good one. I like it.
Wow.
All right,
that's the favorite one.
Yeah.
Nice one, James.
That's fantastic.
All right, Matt, bring us
All
home.
right, here we go. Gorgo and Gappa.
I love those.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Same movie, basically.
The
Thing and From Beyond. Practical Effects Palooza, right?
Yeah, yep.
Great one. Great
The
one.
Legend of Hell House and The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Yeah.
Because when I watched The Legend of Hell House, I can't help but think, what if Don Knotts were in here?
What if
He would have been the Roddy McDowell character.
You know how people think, people think this would be better with CGI. I think when the girls tries to do in Legend of Hell House, she's very horny. She was a Roddy McDowell. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, I wish this was 1987.
I don't remember her being. I don't remember her being horny. I thought the essence was horny.
Well, they were working together.
She was possessed by the horny part of the demon.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So here are some other ones. This is obvious. The Invisible Man and The Vanishing.
Yep.
Nice.
Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin.
Nice. Nice.
Hellraiser and Heaven Can Wait.
Nice.
Love it.
Night of the Lepus and Harvey.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did my
Oh my God. The Lepus is back.
Good The Hunger Lord. And Thinner.
Throw in the whale. Then throw in the whale. Finally got some food.
Yeah, right. Turner and Hooch and They Only Kill Their Masters. Phantasm and Sphere.
Interesting play.
Yes, yes. And then finally, The Day the Earth Caught Fire and The Incredible Melting Man.
Love it.
Wow.
Nice. Those are nice.
I never found one for Earth Girls Are Easy. I thought that would have been one. How about The Swimmer and the Drowning Pool?
That's good.
I like that.
How about Scream and Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte?
Sixth Sense with the Seventh Seal.
Prometheus and Repulsion.
You see, what we've learned here, listeners, is that we could go on, and we're gonna have to do this again.
Yes, I think so.
For another double, triple bill.
Okay, I got one last one.
It's addictive.
It is. It follows and it waits.
Because I started this with you giving me bands, I will on the fly give me a movie, and on the fly I will give you another movie.
Go. Somebody.
Okay. Blue Sunshine.
Oh, Blue Sunshine with Valley of the Dolls.
Oh, okay.
The dolls are pills.
Yeah,
right.
Patty Duke said several times, "Where are my dolls? I need my dolls. Where are my dolls?"
Oh, you know what? That's good because if you should do Valley of the Dolls first and then do Sunshine.
The Sunshine, yes.
Like this is what
I like it.
That is the order is a very big deal. Larry, give me one. Larry, give me one, Larry.
Peter Pan.
Okay, we're done. The
thanks again, Mark, for being with us today. It was such a pleasure to have you, and you're so clever, and I really appreciate having you come on the show. This is
Larry. You're never channeling Richard Simmons. You know, it's like he loves every guest. He is so enthusiastic. But that's funny. It's like, Mark, you were a great guest again.
No, Mark. I loved having you on. You were terrific.
I enjoyed myself as well, Larry.
What you needed to be like Richard Simmons?
No, I mean enthusiastic. He's enthusiastic.
I am enthusiastic.
You can't even say the word enthusiastic.
You could not spell that on a marquee.
Tell me, so Mark, look, I'm sure you're a busy guy. You're an active comedian in Vegas. And can you tell us if listeners wanted to check you out, where can they go? What can they do?
What I'd like to tell the listeners is on YouTube, my channel, I do a thing now. I do a takeoff on the Criterion Closet. I don't know if you've seen that, where they put famous directors and actors in the Criterion Closet and they say, pick whatever movies you want. And when they pick them, they talk about them. So I do that with my closet in the movies I have in my closet. And there's humor and there's good editing. And it's called In the Closet. And there's 3 episodes so far, maybe 4. And I just put one on Instagram that I was going to put it in the closet, which is my pet peeve, which is when there's a gunfight and the person's out of bullets, they throw the gun. I put a montage together.
Yes. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I never understood that.
I'm going to take a guess. When I post something, a link on Monster Party on Instagram, I believe it's Sean who likes it. Am I wrong?
He's our Instagram guy.
I try to keep up on the Instagram posts. Okay. Yeah,
because you like my Outer Limits montage.
Yes, that was awesome.
There's a song called Out of Limits. I go, well, it has nothing to do with the show, but I love the music and that those together.
Yeah. Yep.
So I just went because they had some really bad monsters in that show.
But bad, but cool.
Bad, but good.
I mean, for the time.
Right here on the neck, you see the neck and where the mask is.
Well, yeah, but you don't care because it's done. It's cool.
What were we just talking about?
I know.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow. All right.
Damn.
Well, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I want to say that it's been a couple of weeks, but I think you guys probably took it hard, and I want to say R.I.P. Lisa Loring. I'm sure you guys.
Oh yes,
yes.
When I heard that, I just thought of you guys, and then we just lost the creature.
Yeah, Riku Browning. I will say this though. He lived to be 93 years old. And look, he had an amazing life. And for the past 20, 30 years, going to meet people who were so passionate about the creature was a big thrill for him. And he got to hang out with Julie Adams for a time when they did the shows together. Yep. So it was great because he signed so many things. It's funny when Ben Chapman, who played the land creature, Ben was fun. He was a great guy, but he would only sign pictures that were him. Riku actually didn't care. He signed anything. But if it was a picture of Ben Chapman, with Julie Adams, you go, he just signed it. But God bless him. Swimming can make you live long. So
really,
93, and I'm so appreciative that he did go to these shows and he met so many fans. And there's so many stories that have been come out about fans meeting him and stuff, and so that was really nice. So he went on to become a second unit director. He directed a bunch of stuff for Flipper.
Didn't he help cook? Yeah, totally.
Thunderball.
Yeah. So look, he had an amazing life.
I met him at the Beverly Garland and Ben Chapman. I'm sorry. But also at the Beverly Garland autograph show. They did it once in San Francisco, and I begged my producer to give me a camera, but she didn't give much on Saturdays. And I go, I'm going to come back with some great footage. And that's where I met Stella Stevens.
Oh, wow.
Raquel Welch and Stella Stevens back to back.
I know, it's crazy, man.
My hormones were raging when they were at the top.
Oh,
yeah.
Stella Stevens. Forget about it.
I got to do my Nutty Professor voice to her, and I don't have the footage anymore, but the look on her face is kind of what Larry looks at me when I do a good James Mason. But Raquel Welch and Stella Stevens back to back. That's
tough.
Well, and one more time, I got to throw out R.I.P. to our own Dr. Tom.
Yeah,
I know.
Right. Dr. Tom, but I heard it. But anyway, I saw Raquel Welch once at on Cravings on Sunset. Cravings is a restaurant. It's outdoor.
Really?
Yeah, outdoor, indoor, and I was outdoors, and she was 3 tables down outdoors, so you could see her from the street and from my table.
Wow.
This is probably unrelated, but there was a fender bender in front of the restaurant, and I said, "She still stops traffic."
Nice.
Stella Stevens yelled at me once.
Really? Why?
On the phone. Back when I started at Playboy, and the Playmate book came out. The Playmate book came out, and Hef wanted to send an autographed copy to all the Playmates, and there were like 350 at the time. So my job at the time was to call each and every one of them and make sure we had the right address.
Wow.
So I call her, and I'm being very reverent because obviously it's Stella Stevens, and she there's a beat, and then she unleashes this torrent at me.
Oh my
Playboy
gosh.
has been the bane of my existence. I wish I never heard the name Hugh Hefner, blah, blah. Apparently, I don't know. The pictures were used without her permission, or she didn't get enough money. She was very bitter. But then years later, she ended up coming to the Playmate of the Year luncheon, and Hef was very pleased to see her, and they had a reunion. So it was all
good.
And
for a moment, she yelled at me, and I'm like, hamina.
You just killed the messenger.
What was cool is there's a friend of ours named Wally Wingert, and he would have these screenings at his place.
Yeah,
and we had this one screening where my daughter and I went, and Stella Stevens came to it, and we watched the Nutty Professor together.
Wow.
And watching the film with her was really a thrill.
Wow.
And she signed these things for us.
She is uncannily gorgeous in that film.
When someone dies, I usually watch one of their movies. Like I watched Absence of Malice when Melinda Dillon passed away. When Raquel passed away, I watched 4 movies.
Well, now I want to watch Last of Sheila again because she's in that.
She's in that. But she was great in Bandolero, Kansas City Bomber, and then Stella Stevens. I watched, and everybody should see The Ballad of Cable Hogue, Sam Peckinpah. She is fantastic. That is just a great, sweet Peckinpah movie. It's a sweet movie. It really is. And you got Strother Martin, you got David Werner. Anyway, that's my
Mark, again, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
This is fun, man. We were perfect for this.
You're such a joy. But
we'll have you next week.
I love that.
Larry, give me a movie. I'll try to come up with a line. Go ahead.
No, I think we're done. I really appreciate you being on this show.
You know what? I will say for Peter Pan, the score would be Boys to Men.
Oh,
there you go.
See what I did?
There you go.
Larry, did you see what I did?
I do. That was nice.
All right, you guys have a good time. I'm going to pack some more. Oh, by the way, James, this is funny. When I drive to my new apartment, basically it's the corner of Flamingo and Hugh Hefner. Vegas, all the street names are famous people. In fact, Dean Martin Road crosses Jerry Lewis Way.
Wow.
I'm sure that was no accident.
Yeah.
Anyway, always a pleasure. Always excited when Matt gives me the text, do you want to do the show? So I'm very happy to do it.
Clearly, we love you. So
yes.
There's a lot of again, I'm getting emotional, but there's a lot of that for me too. People listening probably don't know it's fake, but
but see, that's as real as you get, right?
For a podcast, sure.
Even though you're faking the tears, I know that the real tears are right beneath.
Well, it's deflection. When you take a compliment, you deflect it. So
yeah, right. You're uncomfortable with it, so you got to make light of it.
Right.
But you really do feel it.
Yeah. No, I do. I get excited when you.
I'm coming over.
You're excited too.
Oh, why don't you come over now and help me move this?
Look at the time.
That was a brilliant idea. Oh, the heavy stuff. And then I won't cost as much. Oh my God.
Thanks again, Mark.
All right. Larry's kicking me out. Oh, the hook. I'm getting the hook.
End the show. End the show.
Wow. Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out. Mixture of shout outs with shout outs. It's a shout out marathon.
This comes from a longtime listener and our friend in Chicago, Victor Velasquez.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Victor.
Hey.
We had the pleasure of meeting Matt and I met him at G-Fest, and we also all met him at Monster Palooza when he surprised us there.
Great
and
guy.
Victor writes, great job with your commentary on the 30-Foot Bride of Candy Rock. You guys covered a lot of ground and really added to my appreciation of the film and its players. Congratulations on yet another great audio commentary. I had never seen The Boogeyman Will Get You before. I bought Thrillers from the Vault to hear the commentary tracks. Glad I did. What a terrific set. A real value too. Fascinated by Boogeyman. What a curious little film.
Yes. Awesome. That's beautiful.
Thanks so much.
It is a curious little film.
It is.
Well,
it is
I think we have a lot of interesting insights that we share for both films in these sets. You know, I think that they were really interesting. They're kind of little misfit movies in a way, but I think they're really interesting to watch and also to hear what we say about them.
And so I'm so appreciative when listeners find out that we do these Blu-ray commentaries and go out and buy these sets.
Yes,
and, which I've got to think is at least in part for our commentary. So we really, really appreciate it. It's really, really flattering. And Victor, thank you for the kind words. And let's remind our listeners that Monster Party merch is available on our eBay store, which is called Monster Party Store. Easy to remember. We still have various Monster Party t-shirts. We've got the Monster Party shot glass. We've got the Monster Party PPE cloth mask. And what am I forgetting?
Caps. What about our caps?
Caps. No. Oh, how could I forget the cap? The notorious cap.
The cap.
They're not notorious.
They're notorious. There's all that controversy about how many stitches there are.
How many stitches?
That's a controversy that's followed us for years.
It's like neck and neck with, we're their gunmen on the grassy knoll. It's
at that level.
Yeah. I know. And wow, there's so many things to choose from. And if you buy merch from our Monster Party store and you also happen to be a Patreon member, we will throw in free surprise goodies courtesy of our good friend Jason Lindsay and Biff Bang Pow Toys.
Jason Lindsay, always ready to help out his friends.
And doing such a service to the fan community at large by releasing such wonderful toys in the marketplace.
Oh, yes. We love him and we love his stuff. And if you are a Patreon member, you know that his stuff is quality.
So what's this Patreon I keep hearing about? I feel like every 2 weeks I hear about it. And then for some reason, 2 weeks is just long enough to completely erase my mind. What the hell is going on?
Well, Patreon is certainly way better than a double or triple feature.
Ooh.
Because it is a marathon of various bonus Monster Party content that, if experienced in one sitting, is bound to break up even the most solid of marriages.
Wow. That sounds terrific. Well, Matt, I want to go see all these revivals and ticket prices are pretty high right now. I mean, I don't know if I can afford such a luxury.
Well, you know what? You got to stop worrying. You worry too much. I worry about you worrying too much.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, he does worry. And, you just lay your weary head to rest, as the musical rock band Kansas said.
Well, Matt, your words are a comfort. I pledge not to worry so much in the future.
That's nice. That's good. See, it just I'll be able to worry less. But I want you to know that when it comes to Patreon, are you ready for this? For a fraction of the money that you would spend going to a theater. And as you guys know, I spend a lot of money at the theater. I get everything. Oh, yeah. I mean, I always get the largest popcorn, the largest Diet Coke, and then I get a Coke with that, and I mix them together, and then I get the hot tamales. Yeah. So we're running into money now. We all love the hot tamales, right?
That's serious money.
Yeah. And when I'm at a theater that has them, I get the bonbons. Yeah. Ooh. I go for the refrigerated section. Wow. So
really,
my tray is pretty hefty. So that's a lot of money. You're running into a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to just make some sandwiches at home and open a bag of Porkins, The Star Wars themed pork treat.
They should really make that.
Yeah, they should. They should. Well, then just spend $5 a month for joining Monster Party's Patreon, and you will have access to all of the stuff that we offer.
Wow.
Bonus. Yes. Bonus
that is
content.
A bargain.
What a bargain, right?
That is a bar. I mean, you can't get a used Munchies poster for $5.
No,
I mean, tell me about it.
Because they're all munched.
Yeah.
Yes. So
that's
yes,
awesome.
It's just $5 a month, and then
wow, well done.
Have access to all the wonderful things we have to offer, like our shows, Larry's Toy Time, James's Toy Time, which, by the way,
epic
the
times.
latest one, I thought you couldn't do any better than the first one, but oh my God, it's the Empire.
It's inspiring to watch.
Wow.
It is.
I mean, for listeners, if you haven't joined, to check this out. I mean, to see James go on about his collection and what he showed. I mean,
on and on.
But it's good though. He's in his element.
I was captivated.
Me too.
And again, James, I had no idea you had this much stuff.
Neither did I. It was all in storage. This is what happens when a toy collector suffers for a decade with all the storage, and then finally it's unleashed.
Right.
Keep it coming.
Making up for lost time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was wonderful. And that's
just
the tip of the iceberg of all the shows that we have. You know, we have Monster Party Masterpieces. We have these vintage sci-fi and horror collections that are put together by my stepfather-in-law, John Bordeaux. We have these video logs that we did in Japan where we show you almost step by step our adventure in Japan. And then we have all kinds of other things. We have audio episodes. I mean, oh my goodness, it's a treasure chest of joy, and you want to get in on this. So join.
That's right.
Well, how does someone join?
All you got to do is you just go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click the join button, you follow the instructions, and next thing you know, it's a go ape of riches.
Nice.
Wow.
And let's remind our listeners that we are on social media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV, Instagram at Monster Party HQ, Twitter also at Monster Party HQ. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. So please find a way to send us your thoughts and your feelings, your ideas. We'd love to hear them, and we will read them on the air.
That's right.
Not only will your review be read on the air, we'll match it up with a similar themed review.
That's right. And put it on a marquee.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to know about it. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And be sure to share with us your own dream movie marquees.
Like the Human Centipede and...
You could have put your creature against the glass, going, and then
for those of you just tuning in, Mark Pitta put his Creature from the Black Lagoon cutout outside his apartment for Halloween decorations. You know what? It got messed up, but you know what? He played it the way that he wanted to.
And I won Best Balcony, and they took $250 off my rent that month.
$250. And you know what? And I'll bet you enjoyed the whole experience.
Oh, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I'm always a little disappointed when Larry misunderstands me.
No,
that happens.
No. Let me just say for the record here. We've had Mark on a few times, and I saw that creature cardboard cutout in the background, and I'm all, ooh, where'd you get it? And Mark helped me out. He hooked me up because I didn't know about this, and I have one of my own, but it's protected inside, from the elements because
but you didn't buy it for outside. I bought it because I was competing in the Best Balcony for Halloween competition. And it was out there for the whole time. So the wind did, break. It's cardboard, so it did break. This conversation, I'm not prepared for this conversation.
Mark, if you're going to put stuff outside, you should laminate everything.
And also consult with Larry first before you do anything.
No, you don't need to consult with me. Don't give me this crap like I'm not ready for this because you're Mr. Comedian. You're
Mr. Comedian at birth.
Your mind is like this.
From the Massachusetts comedians.
Larry hasn't heard the news. I'm Mrs. Comedian. Get my pronouns right, Larry.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, look. This is how rumors get started. So let's just,
let's get this one started.
That rumor's gonna.
Let's get that one started.
Come on, you're Mr. Playboy guy. Come on, you're not.
You are Mr.
I don't want to.
Mr. Comedian Playboy guy.
Vegas
Mr. Swinger Comedian Playboy guy.
I just
You're
want
a
to.
man about town. You're a roustabout. You're a scoundrel.
I was prepared. I know this is what you play after the show, so I don't think it's proper for the first part of the show. But I like to do my impression of some of your guests.
Great, go.
Here's my impression of Sue Murphy. Let's start the show.
Nice, good.
That's all I got right now.
All I can do is Larry. And that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing in Monster Party Land?
Good.
We're all right, right?
Good, yeah.
Well, we're kind of riding on a high because of the box sets that were just released. We did the commentary, and the reviews are coming in, and they're quite nice, which is always a relief.
You've already done?
Yeah,
I have those. Those are good.
And we were happy. Well, if we're talking about the sci-fi from the vault and thrillers from the vault,
these two new ones that Mark came out.
I thought it was Vengeance.
No.
Variety says Monster Party is doing boffo business with their box sets.
Okay, now I'm going to be Larry and say Variety did not say that.
I was just going to say that Army Archer is writing reviews of your show.
But Grit did a whole thing on this.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Look, wow. Mark. I'm going to cut right to it. Mill Creek reached out to us. They were doing these 2-box set, a sci-fi set and a horror set, and they gave us the option of, would you like to do this film or the other film? And we, being the selfish guys that we are,
go-getters,
we said we want to do both because we want to talk about both films. And so we did The 30-Foot Bride of Candy Rock, sci-fi.
Lou Costello's last movie.
Wow, first time ever that the movie's been on any kind of digital format.
And The Boogeyman Will Get You. And the funny thing is, when it was first suggested to me, I went, I got excited. And he goes, no. This is the older Boris Karloff one, that the film that really isn't the greatest.
Is there a newer one?
Well, yeah. What thing you're talking about? Well, there's several movies called just The Boogeyman.
Yeah,
there's the Boogeyman, but not The Boogeyman Will Get You.
But anyway, it was
which he doesn't.
It was great. Anyway. We had a great time talking.
Yeah, it's in some ways more fascinating the behind the scenes history of it. For that one. But
and then we all get together again. It's one of those things too, where we actually get in a room with each other. And scare each other.
I want to ask you those commentaries. If somebody makes a mistake, do they ever redo it?
Never. No, it's one take always.
It's just one take, smooth as silk, man. No issues at all.
One take wonders.
We're in and out, just like that.
My favorite was Boogie Nights because it's Wahlberg and somebody, and all you hear is, and they're just opening.
That's great.
That's great. Hey,
James,
now go ahead.
I want to tell James something.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't like to watch a whole movie before I go to bed, so I'll watch Columbo. I know you're a big fan.
We're all huge.
I love the fact that
no, James is actually not the huge Columbo fan. It's everybody else.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Mainly Matt and I.
I just want to say how fucking stupid that show is. No.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I was.
He's McMillan and wife. He's not.
You're more Heck Ramsey.
I'm more of a Benachek.
or a Del Vecchio. More.
Del Vecchio.
I'm canon all the way.
Richie Brockleman.
I'm Ironside. I'm sitting in my chair.
Wasn't there like a weird kind of, I don't know why my voice is breaking now, but it's I get adolescence every other week, but there seemed to be in the 70s, there seemed to be this run of things that were like, okay, what can we do to hinder this particular detective? Let's let's put him in a wheelchair.
Yeah, make him. There was a
make him obese.
Yeah, there was one I think was called Lime Street. It was James Franciscus.
That was Long Street.
Long Street.
Yeah, no,
he was blind.
Lime Street would have been great though, because he suffers from Lyme disease, and he has to fit that in within the.
Or he just goes on a street where there's lots of limes to purchase.
Right. No, he's either way. That's how he supplements his detective work by selling limes.
But he uses limes in his detecting somehow.
Right.
It's like it's fascinating.
He's crazy, so he talks to the limes. Lime, what do you think?
Well, Richie Bachman was Dennis Dugan, and he's the only director that's directed me in a movie.
Really?
Oh,
wow.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But hey, Sean, I loved Long Street. James Franciscus.
You know, I always had heard of it, but never saw it because it was a short-lived series.
It's a Bruce Lee
watch
appearance in that one, I think.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I love James Franciscus too. So
he's Daredevil.
What I like about Columbo was that here's a hit show, and who are the guest stars eventually? Gina Rollins and John Cassavetes. I love how he's
oh my God. Yeah. No,
you got to get your friends to work. I was thinking about Jamie Lee Curtis won SAG Award for actress, and she says she's a Nepo baby. And so if you're in the business and you get a job and you get to hire your family, that's nepotism.
Oh, right.
But if you're hiring a friend, that's called friendship.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, also, I think Peter Falk got also. I think Ben Gazzara directed an episode.
Oh my God!
I love those.
It's Cassavetes all over the place.
Yeah, and Patrick McGowan not only starred in several episodes as the bad guy, he directed several episodes he wasn't even in.
Yeah.
So, he was. Yeah, great stuff.
I didn't know that.
I think it would have been great though if Ben Gazzara had killed a Chinese bookie in his episode.
Right.
Somebody told me that they watched an episode. And it was directed by Steven Spielberg, and it was Jack Cassidy was in it.
That was the first regular episode. There were 2 TV movies,
and
then
Jack
the first
Cassidy.
series, the first regular episode of the series was one of the best. Yeah, it's fantastic.
If they
James is very quiet during this conversation about Columbo.
I'm taking it all in.
Yeah, no,
I'm very curious. I've never met anybody who didn't like Columbo. So.
Well, he likes it. You like it,
Columbo.
but he's like,
Columbo,
but Ellery Queen was so much better.
Well, look, I had more fun with Ellery Queen because they didn't tip you off to who the killer was.
That's not what Columbo was.
It was a different thing.
I know it was a different.
Are you guys watching Poker Face?
No, but you know who the killer was in Columbo? He was the guest star.
Exactly.
But they tried to trick you, like the one on Cassavetes. It was so simple. Like, why did they? I figured it out already, but they kind of did a twist. But those are still great.
And there was actually one of the episodes directed by Patrick McGowan was a genuine whodunit. They actually switched you around. It was great. It was like you thought you knew who the killer was. I think it was Robert Vaughn, and then he ends up dead. And it's like, so there's somebody else. So that was every once in a while they broke format. But it was all about you know. It's all about.
It's like that guitar solo in a song that you're waiting for. You know, it's like when Columbo comes in and it's Peter Falk just doing his thing. It's like magic.
It
really is.
Magic.
It
really is.
And
you
I don't know if you guys
eyes off of him.
Now this is not in the same league at all, but you got to give it credit for what it's trying to do, and that's the show Poker Face with
I know of the show.
Leone. And her thing is she is able to detect when someone is lying always.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like almost like a superpower, and they're structured just like Columbo's.
Really?
The first part of it is watching the murder, and then she comes into town and something happens. And there's always a thing where like now 6 hours earlier. And it's Natasha Leone coming into town, and
I have a problem with the lead. I have a problem with the lead actress. She's the one from Russian Doll.
Yeah,
I got a problem with her. I don't have a name for my deficiency, but I have to watch a movie if the person is unattractive in the way I think unattractive. Okay, I'd rather watch Alain Delon in a movie than Wallace Shawn. You know what I'm saying? I'm attracted to men as well as women in a movie like Richard Gere. I'd rather see a handsome person than Wallace Shawn or Steve.
I'm the exact opposite. I like guys. If there's a great character actor who's like kind of ugly and like, but if he's a good character, I mean,
I should preface, I only mind it if they're the lead in the movie because they're on for 2 hours. I'm like, God, look at those teeth,
Right.
Debbie's gonna get
I still think the show is worth checking out, though.
Yeah, I have to check that out. Okay.
Even if I think she might grow on you.
Isn't she considered attractive?
I think she is.
That's not that. I just
but her hair's like a mess, and she just seems like, and she's got kind of a gravelly voice, and
I don't know. Maybe it would have to be a Patreon episode, but if we got the right guest, I would totally be up for doing a Columbo episode, like just doing an episode. It wouldn't be a Monster Party necessarily, but maybe, I mean, if there's one detective show,
it's mystery.
If there's one, if there's one detective show to dissect,
there's death in every episode. So
is that
what is that?
This is a painting I did during the pandemic because that's all I was.
Clash? Is that
it's London Calling.
London Calling, yeah.
But he's smashing an iPhone 12.
Wait, you did that, Mark?
I like that.
Well, the pandemic, it saved me. I learned how to paint during the pandemic.
No, that's really cool. It reminds me of a I was gonna say.
What does it remind you of? No, he's now gonna get everything. He's like I was when I was a kid. Like, oh, you like that? Run to your room and grab
Mark,
all the things that
I want to explain to the people listening what it is. So my thing is the image is the important thing. I can't draw and I can't draw
painting, but go ahead.
So I would watch MTV videos and freeze frame an image, and then that's what I would paint.
Oh yeah, that's cool. No, I was gonna say, Mark, it reminds me of it's like a Banksy. It's really cool.
That's Christopher.
They're like Banksy.
Fatboy Slim.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Those are awesome.
Those are
and
great.
The other one is Natalie Merchant from Like the Weather video.
Oh, that's cool. That's totally cool.
Mark, you should do some classic horror
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one of the girl from Poker Face. No.
Or if you did like 007 ones, that would work.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or something.
I was going to do
Cassavetes.
I was going to do the four guys walk from Clockwork Orange walking, that one.
Yeah.
But I would say that's almost like too on the nose. Like
I like
something
like
dogs. Peeping Tom or something like that.
Yeah.
I know people don't know what the images are from. That's what I like.
Yeah. Well, you should do a Kate Mulgrew from Mrs. Columbo. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. You should do a Star Lost one.
Before we start the show, so there, everything's out of my apartment, but there's a few things I take back. But this is the poster I had when I moved to LA, and I found it again. This always is over my bed. Let me show you this one.
Over the bed.
He's showing us his entire collection.
Yeah, here we go. This is the painting that was over his bed.
No, this is a poster.
A poster, excuse me. It's a poster of a painting, I'm assuming. No, it's actually a picture.
No, it's a poster.
It's a poster. It's a movie poster, right?
Is that Is that Ellen Barkin or something?
Yeah, it's Siesta.
Oh, yeah. I like that movie.
The time of day when mystery and eroticism become one. So that has always been over my bed in LA. I thought, if that's over my bed, women will want to go in. I don't.
Well, it's funny that you like Ellen Barkin because I think she kind of rests a little in that.
But
I understand people that don't like her, yeah.
But she had that period where she was, she was very hot in the business.
I love her. I think she's. I think she's totally
great.
Hot. Yeah.
You either like her crooked smile or it bugs you.
Exactly.
Like
So, Mark, does that work with the ladies?
It works. It works. And then, I just realized every woman I've had sex with doesn't talk to me. It's weird. I figure one of them would talk to me.
So I see you're starting a new slate here. You're getting out of the old apartment. You move into a new place close by, or what's the scoop here?
Actually, I'm in the shit now. I'm like 2 blocks from the Rio. The Palm looms over me. I'm like right there now. I'm 2 blocks from the Strip.
That's
it's really quiet. So
that's
good. You're you're like there. You're like, hey, I gotta fall out my apartment and do a set.
Well, it wasn't the reason, but when you have a set at the Comedy Cellar, you have 2 sets. They're usually at 7, 10, and 9:40. And I didn't want to drive home, but now I can.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I also wanted to say, let's start the show.
Okay. All right. So let's be clear.
Explain to him everything that he needs to know
No. I just wanted to just be clear about our topic.
Oh no, that's good.
Yeah. Because I mean, at least what I was thinking in terms of is it's more like, if we had our own, revival theater, or we wanted to put on our own movie festival of.
If we own the New Beverly.
Exactly. Let's say we had a Monster Party has the New Beverly for a month, and we each have several days to program our own vintage films or whatever, or newer films, whatever. And just fun double features, triple features, quadruple features, marathons, whatever.
I have another. For me, I had sort of two different categories.
Okay.
Because I had the real ones, which were like thematically matched movies.
Okay.
And then I got some other ones that are kind of like a bit that Mark used to do.
Yeah,
I loved.
Okay.
And
cool.
it's like,
are we doing? Let's start the show though, because
no. I'm just, come on. I want to be clear, Mark. That's all.
but so I was thinking we should do is let's start with the thematic ones, and then towards the I'm going to bring up what you did, but let's save that for the end.
I was going to suggest I have a list of funny ones and real ones, and I was going to do all the funny ones in the lightning round.
There you go.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Without giving away title, can you give me an idea of what you mean by like this other way of doing it? Or is it more?
I got your answer. Two movies that would never be together.
Okay, yeah.
Sound funny. Jaws with A Farewell to Arms.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
I don't really have anything like that, but that's
I've
great.
got,
you have that stuff. That's good.
I've got The Invisible Man and The Vanishing.
Exactly.
or Bug and Mash.
Great.
That's cool.
Them and us.
That's great.
I had them and they. There's a they movie too.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's great. That's great. Okay.
But it made me think of. I've always wanted. Tarantino does that. He programs the New Beverly.
Right.
I'd love to do that once in a while. Maybe he should listen to our podcast.
Hell yeah.
Maybe he does.
By the way, I listen to his podcast, and on their newsletter, if you're wearing a Video Archives T-shirt, they will put it up. And I sent him one. They go, "Oh, we love this. Can we use this in a future newsletter?" I said, "Sure." And what it is I'm wearing my Planet of the Apes mask, reading Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. And it's like her now. It's my revolving, paperback book display with all novelizations on it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's great.
Nice.
That's great.
Love it. Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Let's start the show.
Yes.
Sue Murphy's laughing, hopefully. You think she listens to other episodes? I don't know.
She listens to every single episode over and over again.
No, I'm sure she doesn't.
We are the only podcast that she's
done one other.
Oh!
She
lied to me.
She said that to us the last time.
But probably does. Does she do the Dark Forest?
No, she doesn't. I don't think they know each other, but I don't know. But this was the first one that she did.
Yeah.
There's that.
That's right.
I gotta tell you something. I'm out of everything. I'm just drinking tap water. That's how bad it is. I didn't have internet, and they didn't come today, so they reactivated at my old apartment. So that's why I'm back here. But I got like 40 more trips of small stuff.
You sound great.
3 flights of stairs. Oh, horrible.
All right, let's get this going.
Mark, at the end of the show, we're able to say, and so Mark, what are you working on? You could say, hey, I'm performing in Vegas, or check my website or something. You'll be able
if I'm ever on a talk show, I'm gonna plug Monster Party.
Yay!
Oh,
well, thank you. But it's about you though. I just you can tell people where to.
In my life, it's all about you. So
I wish I had these paintings up on some kind of site so I could sell them.
Yes, you should. That's a good idea.
A friend of mine who's a comedian said he takes photos of them and they scan them to canvas for you.
That's a good idea.
You buy it for like $40.
That's a great idea.
That's cool too. Yeah.
Put them on a mug. Put them on anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, let's start.
The only thing I wanted to ask is, am I able to talk about at the beginning working at the theater and putting up the marquee letters?
Of course.
That might be okay.
We'll grant you that privilege.
Thank you. It's very
Just
dangerous.
Keep it quick. Keep it short. Short.